Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's Friday night and it's Contact. How are you? I hope you're all doing very, very well. It's nice to see everybody. Um, I have sent out emails to some people. Some people are telling me now that they haven't received an email. So I'm in the process of sending out email. Also, for the people that are on Twitter, I have sent the link directly into your DMs if you want to check them. PD, I also sent you an email if you want to check your email. And hopefully, as well, we're going to have. I sent the link to Jack as well. I think he's coming on to show some of his artwork, which will be absolutely fantastic. So, what we'll do is we'll start bringing our guests on as soon as the rest of them start coming in. But as I said, I've sent emails out. I'm just going to check the phone real quick now and just make sure that the people that I sent it to on Twitter know that there we go. We got PD, so he got his email. We're just waiting for Lee. Did you not get it? Let me see. I'm going to send it to you on Twitter. And I'll have a look at the thing that you sent me in a few minutes because you seem to be laughing your head off. So it must be funny. But just bear with me. I'll send it to you on Twitter. So go into your DMs. I don't know what's happening. Our email, not my email, our internet has been very spotty tonight. So there might be occasions where I might slip in and out like a couple of people have been doing. Hold on. I hear a ring a ding ding. Let's see if it's late. It'll save me from going in. Yep. So hold on. I just have to let them know. Right, we won't have. Okay, that's fair enough. The family obviously comes first. That's fantastic. Once I know. We will have Sean from the Nerdaholics joining us soon as well. And I'm just sending Jack. He's already got the link, but he wants to know when to come on. So I've just sent him a message there. Right, let's start bringing our guests on because we have a big panel. Now, remember, at the start of this panel, what we do is we pick two shows that we grew up with, or a show today, an old show from years ago, or you can pick two new shows or two old shows. And that's what we do. We do that first, and then it naturally just progresses from there, believe it or not. But that's how we always start off. And last week there was some whoppers, so we'll see what shows the guys have. So that'll give you a bit of time to think there. But let's bring on our guests, and as the rest of them come in, I'll bring them on. Here we go. We got someone else. There, it's Jack. Right. Let's start off. I'm just going to bring them all on real quick so we can get going. And we've got Marty joining us. Hello, Marty. Okay, he's muted.
Hello.
He's not muted. Yes, how are you?
I'm not too bad.
That's good. That's good. Right, we'll get the rest of the guests on and then we'll get straight into it. And we will be talking a little bit Doctor Who tonight. Not too much, but there is a couple of things that we obviously need to chat about. We've got Enigmatic Joker joining us tonight.
Yes, can you hear me loud and clear?
I can indeed. Thank you for joining us. And sorry about last week. It just totally, I get so many emails, I get so many messages that I honestly forgot all about it. But you're welcome tonight. Let's move on and bring on Queen Charlotte.
Hello.
Nice to have you on. Nice to have you on. We got PD Rich.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Not too bad. And we got the other queen of the channel. It's Problem Bing.
I beg your pardon.
I beg your pardon.
Drama queen.
Wow.
No, I am.
And we've got Jack joining us tonight, who a little bit later on is going to be showing us some of his artwork, by the way.
Good.
Like last week, PD was showing off some of his collection. And if any of you guys have any stuff that you just want to show off tonight, it doesn't matter whether it's Doctor Who, whatever program, if you have some merchandise that you'd like to show off or some artwork that you would like to show off, you are more than welcome. We do that as well. And let's bring on Jack.
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Hi, Jack.
Hello.
Now,
Hey,
we'll
buddy.
have Sean on in 7 minutes, right? Well, he'll be here around 8:30. So we'll have Sean from the Nerdaholics joining us again tonight, which will be great. We had a laugh when he came on as well. Melina was supposed to join us, but unfortunately, an issue has come up. So she says that she'll make it up to us, but like family comes first. So don't worry about it. You're more than welcome to come on anytime, you know that. Right, lads and ladies, let's get straight into it. So I'll go around the panel first. I'll wait my turn. I'm gonna try change it up a little bit this week. Instead of me going first all the time, I'll go through the panel. I'll wait because I'm the host, so I shouldn't really go first. So what we'll do is we'll go around the panel, as I said, and as I said, you can pick any two shows that or shows that you don't think people have seen, or shows that you think people mightn't know too much about, or if there is shows that you think that are good shows and don't get the credit they deserve, that kind of thing. So we'll start off with Marty first.
Well, the first show that came to my head when I was thinking about this evening was Designated Survivor. If any of you have seen that, it only ran for 3 series. I think it finished there in 2019. It starred Kiefer Sutherland, and it was basically without giving too much of the plot away. Basically, this it's sort of a political thriller show, and this guy basically he's a minister within the U.S. government. He is made the night that the president makes the State of the Union speech, which happens every year in America. This guy's made the designated survivor, which means if anything happens to the president, this guy basically becomes the president. Kiefer Sutherland's character. So basically, the series starts off the first episode where you're watching the speech with the guy playing the president, and suddenly the screen cuts black, the TV feed cuts black, and these guys storm into the room, basically saying that the building has been attacked. There's been an explosion, and this guy has just been, within a matter of 30 minutes, sworn in as the president of the United States. And it follows him dealing with the aftermath, and then the later series sort of pick up with him struggling in the job and trying to get re-election and all. But it's a really great series. There's 3 series. I think the first 2 series were made on ABC, and then the 3rd series was on Netflix. But it is I think it's a show that I think it's sort of ended at the right time, but I think it doesn't get as much credit as what it should. But that's the first show that sort of came into my head. As for the second show, nothing really has stuck out yet in my head, so I will let you go on ahead, and maybe if something comes to me, I'll say it at the end. Sure.
No problem. Enigmatic Joker.
Dukes of Hazzard. Yes. That ran from 1979 to 1985. Really nice series about two brothers and a sheriff who chased them all the way.
The good old boys.
Yeah, the good old boys.
Love
And
it.
yeah.
Yeah, I used to watch it as a kid, and I used to have the little car, the General Lee, and I was named after General Lee. So
yeah, and Roscoe P. Coltrane.
yeah.
This was so nice guy. A typical guy all the time. And Sheriff Ines. Also the A-Team. Always an 80s series with Hannibal and Face and Murdoch and BA. And then we know all that A-Team, I think. Yeah. That they do series with much action in it, with cars and everything.
Nice.
Lots of
Yeah, I
explosions.
do like the A-Team. Actually, I
Yeah.
grew up with that. I grew up with the A-Team. Yeah, that was my one. A Knight Rider as well.
Oh, brilliant!
Oh
show.
yes,
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Michael Knight. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Lee?
the remake's absolutely rubbish,
Crap.
but but the original's just
Shite Rider, yeah.
Lee, but hold on before you do
Can't
go
be the
on.
classic.
We've got Sean, from the Nerdaholics with us
Hey.
this week.
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
Hi,
Hello,
Sean.
hello.
Hey,
Hello.
buddy.
Nice to see you all there.
So, John, right now, so I'll give you time to think. We want you to pick 2 TV shows that you either think are underrated, a new one or an old one. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference. That you think people may not have heard of or whatever. And we let people know what shows to look out for. So we're on to Lee now. So you still have 3 people in front of you, so you got plenty of time to think.
No pressure.
Lee, are you there, Lee?
Blake 7.
I was going to say that, but I thought I'd wait for you to say it, Lee.
Right.
Blake 7.
Right. I'll tell
That
people
is
why briefly, because you've spoke about Blake 7 plenty of time on the channel. But for anybody that hasn't, because we got some new people in the chat actually, explain to them why they should watch Blake 7.
Well,
Blake
I've been
7.
watching it with Lee.
Yeah, Blake 7. Listen, Blake 7, if you love classic Who, you have that really good crossover. You got like actors who've been in Doctor Who, the classic series, appearing in this Blake 7 show. You've got writers from Doctor Who writing for Blake 7, including Bob Holmes. It's created by the creator of the Daleks, Terry Nation. It's got some of the great actors of the day, including Paul Darrow, who sadly is no longer with us, but he plays the fantastic character of Avon in this show, who is absolutely compelling as a character. It's kind of like well, I mean, a lot of shows were inspired by Blake 7, including Babylon 5, Farscape, shows like that. It's very much like a band of rebels who escape prison colony planet. The prison vessel that's transporting them to this penal colony. I can't even say colony. Comes across an abandoned space ship, an alien spaceship, and they try and board it, but the people who keep trying to board it keep getting killed by this mysterious ship, and so they get sent over to try and secure the ship for the greedy crew of the transport ship, who think they're going to get a load of cash for it from the evil Federation. And of course, the prisoners get hold of the ship, Blake and his crew, and off they go to try and take down the Federation. It's a compelling series. It's 4 series, and it's a very it's not your sort of typical heroes. They all have complex characters, and they all kind of don't get on, especially. And it's fantastic. You know, it's a really great example of 70s, early 80s British BBC science fiction, much in the vein of Doctor Who.
Nice.
So I can't sing its praise highly enough. If you haven't watched it, it is on BritBox now. It's on BritBox in the UK and apparently now also in the US. So if you have a BritBox account, it's available there. So I know it's difficult for Americans to get hold of DVDs for Blake 7, especially because it's only available in region 2. So, you know, for a price of a cup of coffee a month, you know, you might as well get your BritBox and you can watch your Blake 7.
What's your second choice?
Second choice, I would have to say, it's a fairly recent one. It's on Amazon Prime. It's called Tales from the Loop.
Right.
It's a science fiction story set in a sort of alternative 1984. I think it's mid 80s or something like that. It's based on a series of paintings by some guy who made these extraordinarily beautiful, sort of everyday suburban sort of paintings, but with like loads of abandoned futuristic mechanical things in there, and it's sort of based on those paintings, and it's got lots of time traveling stuff in there, and it's a beautiful story. It's very visually gorgeous. It's a complex plot. It's got interesting and well-crafted characters in there, and it's got some really, really great writing. I think it's a very I guess very unloved, not unloved because it's, you know, people don't like it, but it's kind of like not very well known. But I watched it and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a really compelling story, and it's well worth a watch if you've got your Amazon Prime, or if you fancy taking a dip at the HMV DVD shop and pick one up. I'd recommend it. Actually, I think it's a great story.
Fantastic. Thanks for that, Lee. PD.
Okay, a couple of old TV shows. Well, one's fairly newish, but if you like Knight Rider, but you want it a bit more kind of aerial combat, I wholeheartedly recommend Airwolf.
Yeah,
but just miss the last yeah, but just try and miss season 4 because it was terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a story about Stringfellow Hawk who steals a helicopter because his brother goes MIA in Vietnam, which we now get mixed up with Afghanistan for some strange reason. But yeah, it steals a helicopter, a prototype helicopter, which is like an advanced helicopter. It doesn't look very advanced, but it's actually a CIA helicopter, so it's got stealth technology and lots of little hidden weapons. And he uses it for the CIA, or they call them the shop or the company, to go on missions and do missions, and everything leads towards his brother. But just discontinue after season 3. That's all I say.
And your second choice?
Firefly. Bit like Blake 7, bit newer, but with
that was another one inspired by Blake 7. Yep. Yeah, great choice.
Inspiration. That's about Mal Reynolds and the crew of the Firefly going on doing lots of naughty things that they shouldn't be doing in a galaxy.
Yeah, good show actually, Firefly.
Yeah.
I got into it late.
Yeah.
But I was annoyed when it was.
Save the movie till last. That's what I said.
But we got the movie.
What's that first?
But,
I did the same thing.
The movie, I watched the movie last actually because I didn't know about it, and then my little brother said to me, "There's a movie." I says, "What?" He says, "There's a movie." Fans were so outraged by the cancellation that they made a movie, and I was like, "Oh, brilliant!" So, it kind of peed me off. I won't spoil it for anybody, but it peed me off a little bit because of some of the characters in it. You will know what I'm talking about. I don't want to give too much away, but I was rightly peed off. Queen Charlotte.
Well, I'm sort of struggling for 2, but something I have been watching recently is I've sort of been on a bit of a sort of not full anime sort of mood, but sort of Western sort of things that you can tell were definitely inspired by the style of anime. So recently on Netflix, I've been watching Castlevania, which is basically it's a proper series based off the games. And I'm not I don't know the game, so I don't know how faithful it is. But most people know Castlevania is basically Dracula very gothic sort of style, and you sort of have a family of heroes known as the Belmonts, and I'm surprised with actually the quality of it, because you've got the voices are Richard Armitage, who's a very well-known British actor, and he plays sort of Simon Belmont, and he's very good for that because he's got this naturally quite gravelly voice, and he's sort of very good at sort of having that air of not caring, and that's sort of what I'm getting from Simon's character. He's sort of the reluctant hero. I don't know who's the voice for Dracula, but I do recognise it, and a load of the credits when they come up, I thought, oh, I know that voice. So you can tell they've definitely spent their money there, and it looks utterly gorgeous as well. Like I said, the style of the games are quite well known because it is sort of gothic. It's sort of nicely over the top in cases, and if you like a bit of gore as well, if you like that, that's definitely there in the show. And yeah, I think it's the reason why I'm sort of been sort of looking at sort of anime or sort of that sort of style. I do think that's the part of the entertainment industry globally which is the least affected with all the politics we're getting in our entertainment. And I think it's because they just in sort of that culture, it's not invaded, and they sort of laugh at us almost, from what I can understand from the East at times, because they see how we're doing our entertainment. And it's so I've sort of said that's why I wanted to try it. So if you want, like I said, good amount of gore, gorgeous visuals, really good voice cast, and like I said, it's a good old-fashioned sort of, you've got your big bad of Dracula, and then you've got your heroic Simon Belmont. So if you like that sort of thing, I'd recommend that on Netflix.
Fantastic. And your second choice?
Yeah, I'm a bit like Marty. I'm struggling on a second.
Okay, I'll come back to you two guys at the end of it. Jack?
Oh god, I'm absolutely terrible at this. So
You've got enough DVDs, Jack. I saw them the other day.
yeah, I know, but it's mostly Doctor Who and
I know.
films. Well, I'm gonna say a show that I've been watching with Lee recently, and it's gone to being one of my favorite comedies of all time. Blackadder.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Comedy. Blackadder 2 is my favourite.
I won't lie. When I watched one episode just on telly one night, I didn't think much of it. But somehow sitting down with Lee has just honestly split my chest several times.
You watched the first series, which is a big mistake.
That's what I've heard. We just skipped that completely. We're on the 4th series now, and this is the funniest so far.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
So yeah, it's just great. It is so anti-politically correct. It's brilliant. Like the stuff that they say, you would never get away with now.
Oh God, no, not in that genre or that time of comedy, British comedy. You wouldn't get away with any of it.
Yeah,
now.
you know, it's actual real comedy. It's designed to make you laugh. And Rowan Atkinson is just flawless. He has this way of, just doing it naturally, and it's so brilliant, the characters and everything. And it's surprisingly samey, same actors, same sort of settings, but it somehow manages to feel fresh every time you watch it, especially when they change season and it's in a new time. So yeah, if you're looking for a laugh and just a cure for depression, I'd highly recommend you watched Blackadder.
That's very good, Jack. Yeah, have you got a second one, or are you struggling with that one?
I kind of do, but I'm just going to give a quick review to Blake 7 just to thing. It could have been a lot better. It could have been slightly better written. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist it.
Brilliant.
You just hope it doesn't get rebooted by the same man who made that quote. But
that's the threat, isn't
Yeah.
it?
And now that he's gone, there's
shut up.
Yeah, let's not go there.
Look. He did Doctor Who. He's going to destroy Blake 7. Just get over it, right? He did it with Doctor Who. He's going to do it with Blake 7. So you either get ready for one.
Is anyone up for an Avon as transgender?
No.
Don't give him ideas.
Davon.
Avona.
It was
Dave on.
perhaps a little too what the audience was expecting, you know, all running up and down corridors and silly monsters. No, I have got another show, but I'll probably get kicked off stream for saying it because you guys might think it's crap, but I'm really enjoying it. It's have any of you ever heard of Merlin?
Oh, I love Merlin. That was one of
Yeah.
my shows growing up.
My mum and dad were obsessed
Brilliant
with that.
for
I
last
sat down
season.
and watched an episode with my dad one time, and the CGI is just so bad as well.
Oh, you just got
I
to ignore
know.
that. No, just ignore the CG. It's a BBC budget, for God's sake.
Me
Yeah.
and Charlotte, this was our childhood, and I caught a few episodes as a kid, and I always remember the theme tune. It was so good, and also I love the actors. You know, I love Anthony Head and Richard Wilson, John Hurt, and Colin Morgan, who you might remember from Midnight. Is it?
Yes, he was in Midnight.
Is it? Yeah.
Oh,
That's
gay
it.
boy. Yeah, very gay boy.
And what I love about this show is no modern politics in it, as far as I know. It's just good classic storytelling.
Yeah, and it was one of
Yeah,
the few times, Jack, when a prequel worked, didn't it? Because it was literally a prequel. It was the story of Merlin before he became the big wizard that was part of the legend.
Right.
Yeah, and it works so well. You know, they could go off and do their own thing with the character without compromising anything.
Yeah. Good show. Got a bit flat in the last season, though.
I was going to say, Jack, what did you think of that last season, that last series?
I haven't got to it yet.
Oh,
Thank you, PD.
Don't worry. It doesn't ruin the story. It's every other episode about Morgana.
Oh no.
It gets a bit like Class got, I think, but don't let it ruin it for you. You might enjoy it.
I was also going to recommend another show, Being Human.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
The British one. The British.
Yeah, the British one. I haven't seen the American one.
Yes, the Being Human, which I hope is written by the next, which is written by sorry, I'll start again. Which is written by the person that I hope lands a certain job within the next 6 months, and he may or may not be my profile picture right now.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
I kind of don't, because as much as I love Being Human, politics did start to creep in quite obviously in the last 2 seasons. It was every episode. You know, it got kind of annoying. And, you know, that was way back in like 2011. So, you know.
Yeah, he dubbed the politics.
Yeah. And if they do that, they're officially blacklisted by me, and I lose all respect for them. But as a show, I still think it's pretty solid. And I love the guy who is the vampire in series 4 and 5. I love the actor.
Oh, who was that? I'm trying to remember now.
They're all Irish that can do English accents so well.
Aidan Turner, no, that's not Aidan Turner.
Yeah, because we used to infiltrate your country so we could find out what you got planned against us, you know?
No, I'm half Irish. I've got family over there, so give me a
We're
break.
fucking experts, we are.
Damien Maloney.
Say no, that doesn't help, because if you know the show, like all the big, like old vampires were like the biggest evil twirling villains.
Yeah, I know, but it's Mark Gatiss. Are you surprised?
Well, no, because he was in it. He was good as a villain, and he's like, oh, what's the actor's name? He pops up in everything. He was English. He's an English actor. Oh, he was like the mentor for the main vampire, and he's a cracking actor, and he plays a villain really well.
Oh,
A little
which
short
character?
fella.
Yes, yeah, I know who you mean. I need to watch the show again. I love it so much.
Yes, I think it was Toby Jones. I love him because
Mandarin.
whenever he appears in anything, I'm like, you're going to be dodgy.
Yeah, Dreamlord, yeah. Dreamlord dodgy.
Also, a lot of Doctor Who actors, so, you know, it really kind of hits home for you. See who you can spot, and Russell Tovey's brilliant.
Yeah.
And, you know, no mention of his obvious sexuality. He's a great character.
Yeah.
And, you know, the CGI can be a bit, no CGI, but the practical effects, you know, they can be a bit dodgy sometimes, but it's just a load of fun. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's one scene at the end of series 2 that really made me kind of grossed out. I think Charlotte might know what I mean.
I've got a feeling. I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, don't if it's happening. Yeah. But yeah, good choices, Jack. Good choices. I see you sneak the third one in there now, I have to say, but there's a league
sorry.
and he's like 7 little thing. You talk again, you're Bard, right? Done.
Blake 7.
Right? When someone else is talking, only messing, money joker. But yeah, great choices, I have to say. The panel so far you have put out some great choices there. So let's see what Sean from the Nerdaholics has for us.
So Blake 7 and Blake 7.
Is that a cough signal to Blake 7? Right, well, we've already
That was complete coincidence.
Honestly.
Is there 2 other shows besides Blake 7
No.
you would recommend?
No.
Well, funny enough, I've actually been doing my own BritBox binge, and until recently, I didn't realise this was actually a thing, shamefully, because I thought the American version was the only version of it, but that's the British version of House of Cards. I think it's
That's cool.
it's got some
the British version.
Yeah, the original British version from the 80s.
because
Okay.
So it's split into 3 main parts. You got the House of Cards, To Play King, and the final cut starring the late great Ian Richardson. It's just his Francis Urquhart is one of the most sinister, insidious characters I've probably ever seen, but he does it in such a very charismatic way. So I'd highly recommend that, because I actually haven't seen the American version. So this is what I'm sort of probably letting myself down for a fall here, in case it's not quite as good as this version.
Oh, it's good. It's good.
Yeah. It has got Kevin Spacey, who turned out to be a real life villain, so that's why he was good at playing that.
Exactly.
I was watching that show, but I loved the American version, and then when all that shit came out, but like now that there's the cases are being dropped against them, I'm kind of wondering, should they go back to where he was last and erase the last couple of seasons because they were rubbish, and bring him back for 2 more seasons and finish it off, and then kill off Frank Underwood right at the end instead of the way they killed him off. In the show, I didn't like that. But
I think it's best left done now. I mean, it's over.
Stop this
with a whimper.
But it's just fascinating to see his sort of rise to power and his consolidation of that power, and then the sort of fall in the very sort of British way that it does. It's really intriguing, and it keeps you on sort of tenterhooks, because the way that he sort of breaks the fourth wall in a lot of scenes, and he sort of gives you these little funny, like, well, you might think that, but I couldn't possibly comment. And it just sort of rolls on from there. And because we're sort of pushing the awesome hashtag Sheen for 14, I've got to say Staged. I've revisited it again, and it's just as funny the first time, second time around as it was the first time. And it's absolutely superb. So it's obviously not underrated with us, but it's something that it's the most recent thing I've watched, and I just love it. It's brilliant.
No, it is brilliant. You're right. It's brilliant. It's a brilliant show. I love it.
I'll sneak a third one in there for Lee's benefit. He's probably seen this. Survivors.
Yes.
Okay.
The first series especially, I think that was
it's awesome. Another Terry Nation classic.
The
quite
original
in many ways
70s one, not the remake.
Oh, not the crap remake, no.
Fantastic. Right, what I'll do is I'll give my 2 choices, give the other panelists that only threw on one out a chance to a few more minutes. But I'm going to go with 2 Irish shows this time. So I'm going to plug my own country's TV shows. So
Racist.
there's one called Love Hate, and it's about the Irish gangland
Brilliant.
drug feud. Now, I will say the first couple of seasons are brilliant. It's the best Irish TV that I've seen in years, right? The last 2 seasons, not so great, but there's still some great moments in it, and it's worth a watch. It's called Love Hate. Check it out. Even check out the trailer of season 1 on YouTube. And I tell you, if it doesn't get your juices flowing, and come here, like the death scenes in this show, right, are pretty realistic. The show also got very heavily criticized because a kid shoots a cat with an Uzi, And there was so much public outcry because people were fucking idiots and thought it was a real thing that happened. The Late Late Show, fronted by Ryan Tubridy, had to bring the cat on, show the whole nation that the cat was okay. This show created such a buzz in our country. We never had anything like it since Glen Roe, which used to be a country show that a lot of us from Dublin watched. It was very popular, actually. So that's the fourth show. Or it's the Irish drug feud, basically, and it mirrors certain crime bosses in Ireland. Obviously, they don't use their names, but yeah, it's very good show. So I'd highly recommend Love Hate if you can find it. That is, hope you can, because it is worth a watch. I think it is now. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it might be on BritBox UK.
It's on, I think, I don't know if you can watch it over in England, but it definitely is on the RTE player.
Yeah, it's on the RTE player as well. If you get a VPN, maybe you could watch it. But I would highly recommend it. It's a very good show, and the first couple of seasons are epic. They're the best Irish television I've seen in years. But there's another one that I'm going to mention. I have mentioned it on the channel a few times. I still have to do a watch along of it. We did start one, but we never finished it because we got that. We had hassle with other people, but you know what I'm talking about. Getting into it, but Father Ted.
Hey.
And what is there to say about Father Ted? Well, if you want to watch a show about three priests and their not their landlady, their
Tea lady.
tea lady, Mrs. Doyle. And if
Go on.
And if you're not offended by it reminds me of all the it reminds you, look, this show wouldn't be made today, right?
No.
Some people have made examples of shows that wouldn't be made today. This show wouldn't be made today. Now, one of the writers, Graham Linehan, has been banned off Twitter for some of the stuff that he's put up. So he's very highly controversial. So there is some controversial topics in this show, but I will say this: they have a way of making it funny, and I'm telling you, it was a joint production between Channel 4 and RTE. RTE wouldn't touch it because they thought it would offend the older generation, because in Ireland the older generation are they're very Catholic, let's just say. They take it serious. So Channel 4 decided they would pump money into it, and basically it'd be made over there. Well, not made over there. They found islands off the coast of Ireland and filmed there. But what I'm saying is it was mostly a Channel 4 production. And when it became popular in Britain, then they decided to show it here. And let's just say it's one of the funniest comedies that and you know what? It's not even. I wouldn't even call it intelligent comedy. It's if anybody's seen Mrs. Brown's Boys, right? It always gets compared to that. No way is it any way like that show. It is far more intelligent than that show. That's lowbrow humor. This isn't lowbrow humor. Now, in fairness, Dermot Morgan, God love him, he didn't want to be typecast. So before he died, they had one more season planned, and then he was going to leave because he wanted to do stand up and stuff like that. He wanted to be taken seriously, and he was in Ireland for decades. He was a big comedian here, like he was very popular, and he made a few quid throughout his time. But this was, he started on Irish TV quite a lot, and then like he got his break then in the UK. But he wanted to show off his real talent, and he's a very intelligent comedian. That's the sad thing about he died before they got a chance to film the next series of Father Ted.
He was only in his early 50s as well, late 40s, isn't it?
He took
I think didn't he die? I think the day they wrapped on the third series, they were going to the
massive
Yeah.
heart attack. He took massive heart attack. So yeah, very sad. But seriously, the characters are lovable. It is a good show. I'd highly recommend it. Again, for all you people that are new in the chat, go and check out a trailer. Just write in Father Ted trailer, right, and you'll see our funniest clips, and have a look and see if it's something that you'd be into. But I would highly recommend that. So we'll go back to the who was it? Was it
That could
Sharon?
be an ecumenical matter.
Who was it? Marty, and who else?
Yeah,
could
me
we-
and Marty.
Yeah, go ahead. Have you thought of these our second show?
Well, just now I had one idea in my head, and then you mentioned Irish shows, and a lot of ones came flooding back to me. One of the ones was Rebellion, if you remember it.
Yeah.
It was like a mini series. It came out in 2016. It was basically surrounding the events of the Easter Rising in Ireland. And it sort of follows these fictional characters. It doesn't go off any historic characters, but it follows these fictional characters who are based in Belfast and Dublin and all, and just their experience of what it was like at the time. It was made by RTE, and I think it was the highest. They spent like 6 million on it. It was like the highest produced drama, most expensive drama that they ever made. But it's a real without going into it, if these are, there is historical figures in it, but it sort of tells the story from both sides of the of what was going on at that time. And if you know your history, I'll not bore you with it, but yeah, it was a good show. It was a good show. It sort of was. It sort of fit as a mini series because it doesn't really. It's not one of these things you could drag out for multiple series.
Yeah.
It was told a short story and it told it well, and it sort of gives you views from not views, but it sort of introduces you to these characters that are, you cut from Dublin to Belfast and it's sort of, as it unfolds, you sort of, those who know the story know how it goes, and you see what way these characters process it, and it's really well put together.
Yeah, I remember RT made such a big deal about it. Interesting. I see, for me, right, I don't like when they do stuff when it comes to our history, and use fictional characters. But I will say this is probably, and you are right, was the most expensive drama. They did throw everything into it, and you could see that they did. So I'll give them kudos for that. But for me, I want the historical stories to be told. I don't want to hear about fictional characters and their shit. You know what I mean? And I know it's kind of seen it through their eyes and stuff like that. But no, it's not. It's not. It wouldn't be for me. But yeah, if people out there, especially Americans, they do love Irish history, I would recommend this because it's less technical. It's less, it's interesting take on it. That's how I feel. I feel differently about shows like that. I'd rather them go. That's just me. But yeah, I would recommend. Oh yeah, I agree with you. I'd still recommend it, but I'd rather myself personally watch all the Borden stuff as well, and the little known stories and all of that. So yeah, I mean, I've watched.
And you guys have given me an idea actually, and
What?
it's for my second show actually now, which is good. It was a one-off BBC drama. I think they did it a couple of months ago now,
Right.
and I think it was called Three Families, and I might be slightly getting the title.
Yes, it was set in Belfast.
Yes,
or it was set all over Northern Ireland. Although it was brilliant.
Yes, and the backdrop was basically Ireland with the abortion laws. And as you can tell, that's an incredibly heavy topic. It's a loaded topic, and when I've done my studies before, I'd looked a bit into this period to sort of, because it is a fascinating period in history, to sort of see how something that in some countries was seen as a right and that was seen as part of almost the democraticness and sort of countries getting a sort of ahead almost was coming up against religion in Ireland, and that was such a massive sticking point. And I actually think this drama really did a good job of showing the struggles, because you, like the title, you had 3 families and they were mothers who for different reasons wanted to terminate a pregnancy. And I think, and like in one mother it was heartbreaking because it was basically, she got told your baby's not going to survive, and she wanted then, when she knew she wasn't too late basically, to stop her from having to go through with it, because she got told because of complications. And I can't remember what the other 2 families, and it sort of weaved in between. And I just think, like I said, if you like any sort of historical sort of stuff, I do think this is a good sort of starting point. It's a good thing to start to watch, and then you can go and actually look at the actual history a bit more and what was going on.
It actually sort of it tells you a lot too. You know, there's parts where there's no dialogue and you sort of see text on the screen, and as you follow the characters, you know what's. It sort of gives you updates as you see like clips of politicians and all, and what was going on.
Yeah, because it followed some of the groups, didn't it? The sort of groups that were campaigning for the change.
Yeah.
And I think what was quite clever about it was when it came to like some of the co-workers for these women, who, I'm trying to word it right, it didn't make them out as evil when they were telling these women, oh, you need to go through with the pregnancy. And that's what I found quite impressive. It didn't vilify them. It just said was almost just seen as the norm. That this was sort of the way, that everybody was seen, well, you don't get a termination, like the baby's life sacred, you wouldn't do it. So I think that, and like I said, it's such a sensitive thing, and I just thought, wow, they've actually done it really well here for like a one-off drama. So like I said, if you're interested, I'd say
I've actually seen the trailer. It does look very interesting. See the Republic of Ireland, and then you had Northern Ireland, and they obviously would have had different laws to the Republic of Ireland. So I seen the trailer. It does look very fascinating, but at the same time, it does look like it's going to be one of those shows that's going to really hit your emotions high.
Oh God, by the end you're exhausted.
Yeah. So thank you for that, everybody. Absolutely fantastic choices there. But I want to change it up slightly because we do have some Doctor Who stuff. So we're not going to dwell too much on the Doctor Who stuff, but we're going to talk about Doctor Who for a little while. So I don't know if most of you seen my video. Someone's phone. Hold on. Was that my phone? No, it's not my phone. Okay, right, we'll try that again. If people haven't seen my video from this morning, and then Eddie actually dropped some interesting information as well. But I want to start off with Pete McTeague. So last night he put up a picture in a lift, and he made a Doctor Who reference, and that obviously stirred the internet, especially Twitter. So much so that Pete McTeague had to protect his account. So I want to talk about that first very briefly. As we spoke about, if anybody has been following the channel, as I said, the BBC are obviously in the process now. We showed you that tweet yesterday. So they're in the process of looking at candidates. Now, was he there for? He said he was there for a meeting. Was he there for that for Doctor Who? Quite possibly. As I said, BBC are looking at candidates now. For people that have been saying that they've already picked a showrunner and stuff like that, no, they haven't. what they'll do is they'll go through each candidate, and this morning I dropped a video, and basically it's like this. BBC will back any potential showrunner 100% in what they want to do, but there is a brief. They mustn't pander, basically. They're there to write Doctor Who, and that's it. So to me, I have to say, after listening to that and receiving that, and I've received other stuff that I can't run with right now, as I've been saying for the last couple of weeks now, there does seem to be, to me, the evidence has shown that BBC have indeed or are starting to learn from their mistakes. Now, I'm under no illusion that they could double down. Nobody is under any illusions. But for once, I've got a slight little bit of hope that they're actually going to do the right thing. Now, Eddie's stuff was very interesting because he says for the 60th anniversary, there's quite possibly going to be a legacy movie featuring David Tennant. Now, I'm just going to say this and give my opinion. To me, what it seems like is, right, from all the stuff that I've received and all the stuff that Eddie is putting out, to me, it looks like that BBC are trying to please everybody, right? They seem to have changed tact now. David Tennant, why would they bring David Tennant back? Well, David Tennant is a fan favourite. He wins most polls, especially New Who. Recently, he beat Tom Baker. It always rotates between those two anyway. But he's a popular choice with the fandom. So every decision that BBC seem to be making or has been rumoured that they're going to be making seems to be in a positive light. And also there's talks that the licensees have come up with a design for the interior of the TARDIS, which is basically, it's going to be like it'll be in a warehouse, but 360. So it'll be a multi-platform TARDIS interior. It'll give them more space for the cameras and stuff like that, and obviously more space for the actors and actresses to move around. So I think that's quite interesting, that BBC are kind of taking ideas of the licensees. Now, Pete McTeague is interesting because he is part of the Chris Chibnall team. So my first question would be to everybody on the panel is, if Pete McTeague, obviously he went to a meeting, so as I said, there's been a list of names thrown out there. So I want to ask you guys all on the panel, if you think Pete McTeague would be good enough to move this show forward and to follow the brief that BBC have set. Basically, they've not to be going in for trends and fads, was what actually was the wording. So no trends or fads. They're there to write Doctor Who. That's their brief. So,
yeah, and didn't you also say they can't stray too far from the model?
And they can't.
Wasn't that
Yes.
also a phrasing?
Sorry, yes, and that was also. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, and the brief will be that they can't stray too far from the model. Now, the reason why they're saying that is, look, they wanted Chris Chibnall to reinvigorate the show. Yes, they wanted to bring a bit of mystery to the Doctor's character, but not the way that Chris Chibnall had done it. As I've been saying since the Timeless Child or Timeless Children dropped, BBC have not been happy behind the scenes. They're not going to come out publicly and slam the guy that did this because they hired him in the first place. They've got the safe face, and I've never heard of a company that will come out and publicly slam their showrunner. It wouldn't happen, not in a million years.
Lawsuits.
So they had to support him. But he was also given a brief then that he had to fix this mess up. So hopefully, obviously, that's what he does. And then when the new showrunner comes in, obviously, then they've been given a brief. So I want to ask everybody on the panel, and we will start with ladies first. So we'll start with Charlotte first. Charlotte, what do you think of that?
Well, quickly to Pete McTeague. I can see him maybe staying on as like part of the producing team or sort of executive producer role because he knows the history, he knows the show, and he seems to at least have a good enough pedigree with even just the Blu-ray stuff. Like he's shown there with the trailers and stuff that he's very good when he's not shackled down by Chibnall. But I don't see him as a showrunner because the language I'm seeing from the BBC, it seems to me that they want nothing from Chibnall era to carry on into the next one. The whole new generation,
Tag,
the fact
yeah.
that Chibnall's been completely locked out of deciding who's the next showrunner.
Yeah.
Like for me, that shows that they don't want any significant things to carry over from Chibnall's run. Especially the wording. I think like the fact that they've said, well, your source has been told you can't go off trends and fads.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Chibnall's era has literally been about.
Yeah.
Just going from what's the hot political topic. I'll do a female doctor because when Jodie was announced, that was the in thing in the industry to go like female first, female forward, and all that. So like the way the wording's coming across to me and the way the BBC, I'm seeing them act, I think they have fully realised that Chibnall has done an incredible amount of damage to this IP, and that in order to save this IP, they need to basically almost do what Russell did in 2005. Because we were hearing rumours last year from Eddie that he was hearing a briefs by the sounds of it that sounded like we'll go back to the roots, we'll be very sort of back to the core, like that sort of language.
Yeah.
So I really think that they're going to come back big. That's why also I do think we're going to have this hiatus coming up, because when they do come back, I think they're going to make a lot of noise. They're going to fully want this show to be back in the centre of the British public consciousness again.
I agree with you.
And I think that means they're going to have a brand new showrunner, brand new writing staff. I also think, and another thing, that in that Chris Chibnall interview in the DW magazine, he basically admitted that now it's not in-house anymore, the show. It's not being made in-house. It sounds like completely BBC Studios going forward is going to run the show. And the BBC Studios, for people who don't know, that's their commercial arm. That's their business arm. That's the arm that is actually has to make money.
That's the arm that actually heavily promoted the 50th anniversary when Doctor Who was at its height with fans. So this is a good thing.
Yeah, and this is what also the link. I think some of this is because of Davey. Because when did he come in?
Ooh,
if we try and get the time frame here.
Beginning of the year, I think, was it? Or a bit near the end of last year, perhaps?
I think it was near the end of last year.
Yeah.
And because this would take time. And just the way everything seems to be going, I think Davey came in. He was part of that 50th anniversary. Like, he was part of, like you said, studios at that time during the 50th. He saw how big this show can be. And I really am starting to think he came in.
1st of September 2020, assumed office as Director General of the BBC.
Right.
Yeah, and so, like I said, time frames.
Yeah.
I think he came in, he ordered a review. We were hearing that last year. And suddenly now Chibnall's completely almost been kicked out.
Yeah.
Now we're hearing new generation. Now we're hearing possibly a David Tennant 60th, which is, you're completely right. That is completely playing to the sort of populist, also the Doctor that the general public would tune in for. If they were like, oh, is it just David Tennant? I like him. I'll watch it.
Yeah.
So I think if you all put it together, I think Davey came in, he looked at the viewing figures, he looked at the merchandise, he looked at the licenses, he probably talked with some of them because of his past links.
Yeah, because he used to be Director General of
'Cause he
BBC
used-
Studios.
Yeah, I think he would have had the links to go, right, tell me what actually, without like BSing to me, what's the state of this show? And I just think which is what we were hoping when we heard the news about him coming in. I think he's kicked some stuff into place here. I really do.
I mean, it makes sense. My sort of 2 cents on the whole thing is that it makes sense. I know there's a lot of people that are going to be like, "Oh God, they're bringing Tennant back." Look, listen, I grew up with Tennant. Anytime he would come back, I'd love to see it. But I think from
it's a crowd pleaser, yeah.
promotional point of view, it would make sense for him to lead the 60th, and then at the end of the 60th, drop the trailer for the next series, for Series 14 or whatever it's going to be, if it's even going to be called Series 14. But Pete McTeague is showrunner. I don't know. To me, I think I would like to see him writing Ian Ford, but under the new showrunner. Not under the Chibnall era. I think that would be a test for him because, if he was able to bash out a couple of decent episodes, maybe under a new era, and they're good, then he could be in line to take over after who's taken over. He could be the next showrunner after the next showrunner, if that makes sense. But he did do good work on the Blu-ray stuff. Everything I've seen on the Blu-rays is very well done, I thought. But at the end of the day, if you look at the minute, I think Charlotte's right. At the end of the day, that you can put whatever agendas and pander to whatever you like into a show, but at the end of the day, this all boils down to money and profit.
That's the one.
And I think Charlotte's right. Tim Davey probably come out and said, right, I want to see every show on the commercial arm here, what way they're performing, and he probably looked at Doctor Who and was like, right, this has to change. We need to save money here, so it's either get it changed or get rid of it.
Yeah.
And I think, the hierarchy in the BBC now might have just turned around and said, right, we need to cut this pattern, whatever they're at, whatever idea or whatever it was, this plan they had in their head, we need to cut it, and we need to get the show back into a similar period.
I agree. I think BBC are starting to realise, Tim Davey, when he came in, okay, maybe he has been working stealthily behind the scenes, because he did come out with some stuff that we all thought, he's just he's just a pawn. He's not really going to do anything. But we did talk about, I spoke about this on the channel about the shows. There was going to be a review done, and everybody laughed at me. Again,
I think you're seeing the results now. No, I really think you're seeing the results of that now.
Things are coming home to roost.
That's why I say some of the stuff that I put out, it could be months before it's even, you know what I mean, when it comes to stuff like that. It could be months before you find out, but it does seem to be coming to the fore again. So again, to me, we sources well done, because I knew there was a review gonna go on, because there's no way they could have carried on like this. And you know what? This is positive though, and I want to make it positive, because there are still people out there that think BBC are going to double down. That the show.
I don't think they can afford.
I don't think they're going to do it. I really don't. All the evidence, even the stuff that we know about, that's out there already. I think it shows that BBC are really keen for this show to work, and for it to be back to the way it used to be, or at least try get it there.
I think that Davey has probably come out now, and he's probably, I'd say, even though he's not in BBC Studios, I'd say he'd still have a fair say in it. He is the head of the BBC after all.
Yeah.
But I would say now, if it's not going to be an in-house Rothlock production, I've said it before here, I think we're heading into co-production territory now. I think we're about to bring in HBO Max here onto this board, or Bad Wolf. Someone's going to get involved.
Well, that kind of confirms the other rumor that we put out, that it wouldn't be Rothlock was done.
Yeah.
Well,
And
there
I
you
think
go.
if they're
So
gonna,
again, there's another one. You just reminded me of that one.
if they're
So there's
going,
another one there. So again, there's another stuff that I put out on this channel that's come to fruition.
yeah.
So I mean, look, it's about time that BBC have copped on, is what I'm going to say. Now, will they be able? Charlotte, it's very interesting that Charlotte brings up the fact that they're going to come back big. And everybody in the panel probably thinks the same as well. I'd have to agree. I think they're going to throw the kitchen sink at the next series after this mess is completely done.
Yeah, the next era, I really think they're gonna push everything.
They're going to have to as well, because it's going to be the only thing really that's going to draw
the audience back up,
draw the quote unquote normies back in, because that was essentially what was driving your viewing figures up.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that
it's not just about bringing fans back. They have to convince the British public that this show, because a lot of the British public did watch. It wasn't Doctor Who fans that kept this show going.
Yeah.
You know, it was the British public. We keep forgetting that they're the bigger audience that BBC have to actually target. We as Doctor Who fans are already there, and they know that. You know,
I understand that there's a lot of people say, right, oh, they're looking for a new showrunner, right? This showrunner has to write the 60th and write series 14. I tell you what I think they should do. This is what I would do if I had any say in it. I would get them the best showrunner possible. I would move them to somewhere like Manchester that has all the modern facilities. I would run to RTD. I would throw them the vault, and I would say, right, can you do the 60th? We want the showrunner to focus on series 14. We just want you to do one episode, bring in talent, promote it like hell. At the end of it, drop the trailer for the new series. And even if you want, put a cameo of the next Doctor in that special.
And also, it's not obviously, okay, it's the 60th anniversary of the entire show, but it's also the anniversary of the new series starting again. And I think there'd be kind of like a sort of a nice poetry of Russell T Davies kind of bookending it with the 60th.
By the time that, if series 14 or whatever it's going to be called comes out, and say early 24, right? That's 19 years since the original series started. Since 2005 series started. You do want to throw the kitchen sink at it, and there's a lot of people. I know there's a lot of people out there that don't like talent and whatnot and don't want to see him back. I'd love to see him back, and I think if you have to look at it realistically, if you're going to pull in viewers, you need to get talent's the man you want. If you want to have a massive episode with him, and you can bring in Matt Smith or Peter Capaldi, bring back a load of old companions. Don't even have the new Doctor on. Just celebrate what has come before.
Oh no, I think that wouldn't work if you put the new Doctor in it. I think it does need to be
separate entity.
Completely like the legacy, I think. And here's another thing. I wouldn't be surprised if the idea of Tennant is them testing out what audience are we going to get if we go back to formula with a male Doctor.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it would be. I think somebody said it in the chat last time we were chatting. I think, and that's a good idea. I think that's a good point. I do think that would be them possibly seeing, right, obviously we know it's going to get viewing figures, but we've gone back to the model of the Doctor before Chibnall.
Yeah.
Let's see how much hype that gets. Let's see how much.
If it's David Tennant, I'm telling you now, if it's a big ass special that they're doing, if they're gonna show it on TV, and if they're smart enough as well, they would open it up in selected cinemas as well, like they did with the other anniversary. But if it's only on TV, I reckon you're looking at about, for David Tennant, I say you're looking at around 13 to 14 million views, and that'll blow away anything that the Whittaker era done.
And let's not forget, Tennant's a much bigger name than he was when he was even in the show when it finished.
Exactly. So that could even bump up even further. And you've got to remember, then you'll have the consolidated figures, right? You'll have the weekly ones, and then you'll have the over 28 days.
Could you imagine?
I think that's a good idea. I think that's a good suggestion by Charlotte. Bring David Tennant back, test the water, see.
Could you
imagine to bring back the male Doctor? and then probably announce a new male Doctor then for Series 14. I think
I
that
also
is very
think-
smart by BBC if they are actually doing something like that, because I think they should cover all bases, because they
I
have
know,
to get this right.
I
They
know it
have
won't
to
happen,
get it
right?
spot on.
I know it won't happen, but you look at how big some of these actors have been, have what have they went on to since Doctor Who. Could you imagine if they were able to get Tennant, Catherine Tate, Matt Smith, and Karen Gillan?
Wow.
Oh God, that would just break everything.
Could you imagine if they were able to get Karen Gillan back?
Oh, yeah.
What did
Karen
the rest
Gillan's
of the
arguably
panelists
the biggest
think?
of the lot now, isn't she? You know what I mean?
Go ahead, Sean. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say that would be like the ultimate coup for them. 'Cause essentially, they're all like Hollywood A-listers now. So,
Yeah.
or maybe A and maybe B minus. But you get what I mean. You know, it's
Yeah.
it would
Anybody
be
else
a
on the
way of
panel got any thoughts?
I
Ruth
also think
Charlotte.
that
Go on, Joe.
Sorry. I also think that it would be a nice way to just close off the current iteration of the show. Like with Russell T Davies coming back to write, he started it, he gets to finish this, and then it'll leave everything fresh for a new showrunner, new
I
Doctor,
think
a new
that's a
show.
good idea. I'd actually throw Moffat into the mix as well. Have the two of
No,
them.
no, thank you.
I would. I'd have the two of them, and do you know what? I'd throw in Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi as well. I would. I'd throw them. I'd throw them.
Yeah, Capaldi wouldn't come back though. I think
No.
Matt, if he was free, he'd be back within
I don't
like
know.
2
It's
heartbeats.
written by RTD and Stephen Moffat. I'm telling you now. I think Stephen Moffat is a very good convincer. I think he can get.
Forget Tennant.
Forget
Forget Tennant. Forget Matt Smith. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, who do you want? Peter Capaldi?
Paul McGann.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, but hold on. You said looking at the bigger picture here, right?
He's
If
not
this
that
show,
low.
if this show hits the ground running again like it did in 2005, this new era, right? Think of the possibilities then. It's on a solid foundation again. What happens when a show is on a solid foundations? We get spin-offs. So if they're listening to people, right, and the evidence indicates that they are, well, then maybe a Paul McGann series will come down the line. Maybe Torchwood will come back. Maybe they'll do other spin-offs. Do you know what I mean? So we have to look. We want this next era has to be successful. If it's not successful, then we're back to square one. Well, we're not back to square one. The show is dead and buried. But what's your opinion, Lee?
I've said it before. The BBC do not realize what they have in their pocket. If they played their cards right, had the right writers, done great stories, had great actors, there is no reason if they kept that up for a 10-year period or whatever it is that the show could not be the franchise could not be as big as say Marvel. There is no reason.
Lee, what would you do?
Not exactly rocket science, is it, for them to be able to do that as well? You'd think, anyway.
You know, the talk about license fee. If they were able to do that,
can I just get the rest of the for a second? I know we're getting. I just want to get the rest of the panel's opinions. So, Lee,
I think a slam dunk would be to do a TV film time war thing with Paul McGann. Go into that a bit more. Give us some more eighth Doctor. There's a huge gaping hole there. Like I know Big Finish has plugged that gap, but I really like to see something more screen canon. You know, maybe making more your film Doctor. You know, do something. You know, like a mini series or. You know, introduce Romana again. Something. You know, just give that strong female lead. You know, bring back a female Time Lord, but a proper one.
Yeah. Enigmatic Joker, what do you think?
Yes, I think we must build a good foundation for next series 14. So 60s must be splendid, must be great. Fans must be really interested in Doctor Who also. And I think he must look for good actors like Tennant and Smith. I think for that. It is also important to notice that for the series 13 and the specials in 2022, that also must be in good work. Must good work to the 60s. Yeah.
Yeah, look, I will say this, right? I said, been saying on this channel, like Lottie is on the panel, that they have to go big with the next era. And if if any of these rumors are true, well, by God, we're in for an interesting time anyway. Whether they can pull it off is going to be the question, because there are a lot of fans out there that just refuse to come back. But I've got a funny feeling if you bring a David Tennant back, there's a chance that you could bring those fans back as well. And also, it is very important that the British public fall in love with Doctor Who all over again, because they've fallen out in love with Doctor Who just like the fans have. And there has to be a big push as well, promotional wise, and I think there will be. I think after this area, you're going to see the ball game completely change with promotion. It's going to be heavily promoted. They're going to throw, as I said, the kitchen sink at it. But I want to ask you guys, all these again, and if you can all be brief about it so we can get everybody on the panel opinion. But I want to ask is, do you guys believe that BBC can do this? And do you think they have the courage to actually do it?
I think we know they can do it. It's whether or not they have the will to do it.
Exactly.
And also the have they chased away the potential top talent because of the poison chalice that's now been created? You know, have they created a situation where the actual top talent out there are like, do I really want to work in that environment? You know, where everyone's militantly activist or something and afraid to speak truth or, you know, speak their mind or opinion or anything. I think if they did bring in someone, I think they'd have to contract it out as a joint venture, quite honestly, and give more of a free rein to the external production company. I think that's the only way, because I'm not entirely convinced that the BBC is hiring the right people. They're hiring based on immutable characteristics rather than talent and ability and merit. And I think that if that is not combated, or if that is now so endemic within the BBC, you're not going to be able to have that environment in which to pull your resources, to have that pool of talent to pull on to get that result that we were used to prior to the current era. What happened to all those people? Have they now moved on? You know, I think the only way really is to contract it out, to get a joint production with an external production company, bring them in, give them a free rein with a little bit of oversight so that it stays Doctor Who, but, you know, with someone who knows what they're doing, who has a professional team to back them up. And obviously you get the right writers in, the right script editor, the right executive producers, and so on and so forth. It needs a complete structural overhaul. I say get rid of the showrunner thing, bring back the executive producer, the script writer, the head writer, get rid of the writer's room, pull on independent writers, bring them in, you know, and then have the editor sort of restructuring it and editing it, and you know, having a battling with the executive producer to get the right ideas across. So you've not just got, you know, a diktat from above. You've got like at least two people, if not more, and as you know, associate producers, assistant producers also having their say. And so it isn't just one vision, because as we've seen, one vision can be very good, but also in the Chibnall's case, exceedingly bad. So we can't afford to have that kind of mistake of a single-minded vision, because it you know, if it's unchallenged, if it's left unchallenged and it goes along, we've seen the result. You know, it can just end up a complete mess, because you know, you hire someone incompetent, you're going to get incompetent results, and they're going to hire incompetent people beneath them.
Right.
because they don't want to be shown up. So you've just got a hierarchy of shit.
Pretty much.
You really need to muck out and replace.
Yeah,
Basically, you need a. Oh, sorry, go on, Charlotte.
I was going to say, just to add on to Lee's point, and then because it's sort of what I was thinking. I think going forward, you're going to see a collaborative BBC with this show. The fact that, according to your source info, the TARDIS interior, it sounds like it's the licensees that are calling the shots there.
Yeah.
And I think that's a major difference if that's true, because that is showing that the BBC is actually letting their ego not rule their decisions as much. That they're allowing other people to come to them and say, "Here's my idea," and they're actually taking it on. They're not
taking on board,
They're not just being very sort of, no, we have our way and that's the only right way. I think that's been the issue with this show for years.
That might have worked if you had the right talent in place, but you don't. And you've driven away a lot of potential people, I'd say. So
and
I think you do need a balance of listening to people, absolutely, but also at the same time, too many cooks spoil the broth as well. So you've got to have that element of give a little, but also to have a little bit of restraint too, because you need to be able to tie it together and not have it build a crooked house out of it. So you need to.
But it's the fact that they're willing, like I said, it feels like they're listening a little bit now. Because I've thought this going forward, when people are like, oh, the BBC is not going to change. I think a lot of the calls are not going to be central to the BBC anymore. They've got licensees that are going to be screaming at them. Like, you can't, we need this or we need that, or we know what sells. They're going to have HBO or whatever streaming American partners. They're going to have an input. So I think the next era is going to be
completely different to what we've
completely different, because you're going to have all these other, even if they're not like having proper control of the show, BBC is going to have a lot of different people that are going to be, because of money, because of stakes, because of how bad the current era has gone, they're going to want to actually speak up, I think, a lot more. And they're going to are going to want to almost try and say, this is what we think would be best for the show. And I think the BBC is going to listen a bit better than they have the last 5 years.
Can I just say that I hope to God that this new TARDIS interior design is, maybe it's just me saying this, I hope to God, I'd love them to go back to the classic design.
Yeah.
You
want the round things back.
Oh, I want something sort of similar to Joe Martin, but a wee bit more, a bit bigger, if that makes sense. Sort of think Capaldi, but with the round things.
Yeah. And go back to grey, white and grey.
Jack, you said, do you want to add something? Hello?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree with everything that everyone's been saying. I do worry that maybe if the show does get successful again, the BBC might start their old ways again. But hopefully, if they can have a separate group overseeing the show and in charge of all creative decisions, I think that might be the best thing.
PD?
Yeah, I kind of agree with everyone, but I just got a bad feeling about getting Peter Teagan as well. I just feel we're going back to the old Fitzroy Tavern days. I think we've got to stay away from that and move forward.
Yeah, but maybe they're keeping him on because they thought he was the best out of a bad lot, and they're grooming him to become eventual, as Marty had mentioned earlier on. Maybe they're grooming him to be eventual showrunner, maybe sometime in the future. But Marty, do you want to add on to that point actually that you were making?
As I say, I think the BBC can save this show if they have if they put the money in and have the cojones to do it. It can be done. The potential for this show is, as I say, they don't realize what they have. So but I do agree with Lee that the way forward, in my opinion, may be out to I know that all the BBC shows are all supposed to be. I think it's like
remember reading an article that says that they have to like get 60% of their shows like tendered out to external production companies by 2027. So
Wow.
you know, I think the co-production's the way to go now at the minute, but
Yeah.
I'd let them have a bigger say over what happens. But the one thing I will just push for is the classic style TARDIS and good writing.
Yeah, well, the Joe Martin Tardis was a pretty interesting one. The fact that it kind of had a throwback to the classic one, which I found very interesting. But what we're going to do now is, because we've spoke about Doctor Who for at least about, I think, 40 odd minutes or so, we'll move it on, because we got Jack, who's going to be showing us some of his artwork. So, guys, if there's anything, you guys on the panel, if there's anything that you would like to show off, any artwork or merchandise that you have, it doesn't have to be necessarily Doctor Who. You may do so. So when Jack is ready, you can start screen sharing your stuff, and we'll throw it up and let everybody see it. So we'll just wait for Jack there.
Yeah, I'm ready. You can show them off.
Yeah, you have to screen share.
All right.
Yeah.
Listen to Noel actually telling somebody what to do, like technically on the stream.
Wow.
Yeah,
How times have changed.
It's screen
Yeah,
shares.
I
Quick
know,
for us,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
TARDIS Zone technical support.
Trying to be a bit more.
Have you tried
Hope
switching
you-
off and on again?
Hope you were watching last week, Jack. I showed off my pulse rifle.
Oh, sorry.
Well,
I didn't-
here, DD, if there's any other stuff that you'd like to show
Yeah.
off, that you didn't get a
At the
chance to
moment.
show off, you can start screen sharing as well.
And that Enterprise was very, very sexy.
You like my 1/350th scale? Yeah, it was a pain to build. Took about 5 years on and off.
Wow.
I've run into a technical issue. I'm on my laptop, and I don't have the pictures on my laptop yet.
Oh,
Could you send them to somebody and like they could maybe bring it up on their
I have
screen?
sent them to Noel.
No, could you bring them up on your screen then?
I will try, because it's going to be on Twitter. The chat is going to pause. I want to keep an eye on the chat.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're all right.
So what?
I sort of want to play the classic elevator music here, but I know
Yeah.
we'll get copy straight.
Zach.
Yeah, no, don't play any music, because my last week's stream was struck, and I can't have that happening anymore.
No, I'll not be doing it. Don't worry.
So, right, I'll show.
I will pick up on a comment that Daniel made in the comment section that still has me chuckling. He describes the current TARDIS looking like someone has went for a slash.
Oh, did anyone see the Eagle Moss TARDIS control panel?
Yeah, the butt plug.
Console, yeah. Oh, it looked like a used butt plug. Oh.
It really did.
God.
Oh god. Yeah. No
Someone
wonder
had a
the
curry the night before. Oh.
no wonder
Right, Jack, would you
these
like
people
to-
they get a word in.
So, Jack, if you'd like to explain this picture that's up on screen there.
Okay, well, this was for my grandmother's best friend's birthday. Yeah, if you guys know, I'm pretty good at rabbits, and she's a huge fan of David Tennant, so I thought I'll make her this for a birthday present.
Brilliant.
And it's just pen and colouring pencil.
I don't know how, but like the way you do expressions, Jack, in these rabbits is so good. Like
Yeah.
that's a proper like hero expression and stance and everything.
Yeah, I get told that is like your art may not be like amazing, but you got your expressions spot on.
It's sort of like that looks like a doctor sort of doing the whole facing off thing.
Even without the Sonic, without the background, without the TARDIS, without K9, you still can tell
Yeah.
it's Tennant's 10th Doctor.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it's very good, isn't it? I'll show you the rest now. So hold on, I'll just stop the screen sharing. This one, I have to do it this way because obviously there's a private conversation on Jack's Twitter between the two of us, so it's remaining private, obviously. So is it it's the same picture you've sent twice? Is there something different with this one?
No, it's just bigger.
All right, I'll show a bigger version. All right, so here's the bigger version, folks. Someone's mobile phone is interfering with it. So hold on.
I sent you a couple of things.
So there's a bigger. Your artwork, is it, Lee?
Well, yeah. I mean, just
Where did you send them?
in your DMs. Well, Twitter.
Yeah, DMs on what? Twitter or Messenger?
Well, Twitter, you idiot. Like, where else would I do it?
Well, I'm on your
Messenger.
I'm on Twitter and there's no messages coming through. So that's why I'm asking you.
Well, I sent you already.
Well, they're not there. They're not showing up on my phone. Jesus, man.
Well, not my fault, is it?
Right. Well, you'll have to wait until
You
they
said,
come
"Wow, looks interesting."
What? What? The picture of what? The picture? What picture?
The velvet one. The sneak peek of what
No, that's that. What are you showing them off for, though? That's supposed to be a surprise. No, he's in the chat. Don't be showing off what you've done. No.
And then there's a couple of memes and the link to that tweet.
Yeah, I'm not. No, this is artwork and merchandise.
All
not
right,
fucking-
all right.
fucking-
Keep your fucking wig on.
Right, you've got fucking pictures. Why don't you put them up and show everybody your artwork, your Sheen for 14 artwork?
Well, you've got
Yeah,
those.
see?
You've got those.
Right, so this is another one of Jack's delightful pictures. So, Jack, do you want to tell everybody about this? Do you have to talk?
This is meant to be Michael Sheen as the 14th Doctor, but his forehead is far too big.
He's thinking a lot.
Yeah. He looks a bit like Bill Murray.
A young Bill Murray, yeah.
Yeah, but like, look at the eyes.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm also
eyes are so
designing my
hard
own
to do.
screwdriver.
I was going to say, I do like the screwdriver. Very cool.
It's actually got a Phillips head.
Wow.
Hey, I saw what you did there.
Perfect. That's really good.
Right,
That's
let's go on to his next image. Right, here's another one. Yeah. I'm sorry, but like, you know,
no, you're getting the look. No, that's the main thing.
give me a chance. There you go. So, do you want to explain this one?
This is just someone that I came up with. No, off the top of my head, I've still got way more that I need to do.
I love this one. It's such a lovely, sentimental kind of picture. It's got a real sort of, I don't know what it is. It's got such a charm about it. I just love it. I just absolutely love it.
Oh, it gives me Edith Blyton vibes. Do you know, like those sort of books?
Beatrice Potter.
Yeah, that sort of that era of children's books where it was sort of very. All the kids almost looked like dolls, didn't they, when they were sort of part of the when they were drawn or illustrated?
Well, I see Jack as being a sort of a children's book sort of illustrator or something like that. You know, I think that's a very niche market, but I think it's a great one. You know, I think there's illustration is particularly unrepresented kind of medium. I think it's a great idea. That's lovely, isn't it?
Oh, that's cool.
Oh yeah, this is my university lecturer, and she's paying me £30 for a bunny portrait.
Wow.
And I love the Cardi It's really colourful. It's great.
Yeah, it was so difficult to colour in because it's got all these flower power patterns all over it and things. But yeah, I'm really proud. I'm really pleased with this one.
That's great.
Yeah, that's a good deal. 30 quid for that. Good.
Keep telling him, you know,
My trick
you're
is-
underselling.
My trick is they don't ask for the drawings. I do the drawings, then demand money.
Oh, okay.
Highway robbery.
Good man.
Draw and deliver. Your money or your life.
No. She said she would pay me. I didn't ask for money.
Nice.
Right, let's see.
So what sort of size is, like, when you draw something, Jack, is it like an A4 sheet? Or is it like...
No, it's only A5. I tend to work better with smaller.
Right, because I know that some people can do bigger and smaller, so I was just wondering where you naturally sort of like to draw.
I kind of like smaller because it's easier for me personally. Like I always prefer a little sketchbook to a big kind of art canvas.
Yeah. So you can just sort of, and also if an idea comes to you, you can sort of just start it more straight away, can't you?
Yeah, pretty much. If it's something that I want to put a lot of time into, I will do a full-size poster.
Yeah.
But oftentimes I just start with something comes into my head and I just do it.
I think that's the best art, really, where it's not, you know, where it just pops into your head. It's like when Lee did that video for there. Now, see, you can talk about something. When he did his Ocean Man song for Az, that just came to him, and you know, it wasn't premeditated. It wasn't
just a flash of inspiration.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all it takes.
That was amazing. I love that.
That was fun.
It does get stuck in your head for days on end as well,
Yeah.
doesn't it? But it's fantastic, mate.
I know it is, because that's sort of like with the bits and bobs I write, that's what I basically do. I just sort of mood, like something just sort of gets in my head, and I sort of had this idea bouncing around for a bit, and then once it's a bit more solid, I have a go at writing. So yeah, it is. I think if you put too much pressure on yourself, you just need to sort of almost not be thinking about something, and then it will hit
Otherwise,
you.
it sort of stems the creative process,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Yeah, I am a bit of a perfectionist, and sometimes I just completely flatline when it comes to art.
Yeah, I'm a bit like that myself on prop building.
Do you want to show off some of your props, PD?
Oh, show him the pulse rifle again. He'll want to see
Yeah,
the
you know, it
pulse
makes
rifle.
sense.
He wants to see the pulse rifle. I know he wants to see the pulse rifle.
Yeah, and there's any other new stuff that you
I've
didn't
got
show.
some stuff from Disaster Area sent me, a load of his custom figures.
All right, yeah, you could screen
Show
share.
them. I'll just try and fumble my way through them, as it's not my collection. It's Disaster
And
Area.
Lee, if you want to get some of your beautiful artwork up, stuff that you've done for the Sheen for 14 and some other stuff, if you want it as well, you're more than welcome to do so. So here is PD's pulse rifle, and as we said, we were mesmerized when we seen it last week. So there you go. There's the pulse rifle.
Has sound effects as well, I forgot to say.
Oh.
Yeah, both triggers work and it has sound effects. Which is one
Okay,
thing.
I'm going to feel like the odd one out. What's that from?
Alien 3. It's one of my favourite science fiction weapons.
Oh my god!
I actually got one in the Sheffield Museum, and you don't know what it is.
Brilliant.
Right, this is why you have me on. I'm the young one who doesn't know half the stuff you guys talk about.
Yeah.
You still hold your own very nicely, Charlotte.
Yeah. And the other side, you can actually see the Alien 3 versions because there's a big Wayland-Yutani logo on it.
It's nice. I have to say, I'm really impressed. I've been impressed by all the stuff that you've thrown up. I have to say, there's some talented people on the panel tonight, but they're in the Doctor Who fandom and beyond. The talent of some people just amazes me. So well done to you all, because to have that talent, it's something I wish I had. I was into art at one stage, but again, with a lot of things, I just got a lazy mind. I never really, when it came to art, I never really, created one or two good things, but That's because I really put effort into it. But with art, I just didn't really give a crap. I didn't think it'd get me anywhere in life, so I just basically gave up on it.
There's an element of art in cooking now. You say you're a bit of a chef.
Well, I am. Well, that's an art in itself, I suppose.
Exactly.
It's not a point, but look, that way I can be very creative, and I love being in the. I suppose I have to love what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, for me, that's what it is. But for some people, it just comes so naturally. Like, you know, even I'm a naturally good cook. That's the good thing I was good at. So creations like that, yeah, I've no problem. But when it comes to stuff like this, I just never had the head for it. But
You see guys that are like, like I follow a few guys on Instagram that have like they're able to like 3D print themselves like replicas like of old Tardises and build them up.
Oh yeah.
And they have every TARDIS on like a big shelf laid across the wall, and it's like Hartnell's, Troughton's, Pertwee's.
wow.
And it's just and they're all so detailed, and like the doors open, there's no sounds or nothing on them, but the doors open, they're made out of wood, and they're so much time and effort, and it's if you're willing to put the hours in for something like that, it must be a great feeling when you see it it actually finished.
I'm actually working on a small. Yeah, go on. Sorry, Charlotte.
Lads,
Go ahead.
I'm going to have to bounce, and it's best if I say bye now.
Oh.
I'm gonna have to leave too because my drunken brother requires me for something. I don't know what.
That doesn't sound dodgy at all, mate.
Go on and have your few beers and have a good time.
Right. I will speak to you at some stage, and I'll try and let you know if it's good. I'll let you know how it get on. But if you hear nothing, it's something definitely didn't go down well.
No problem. But stay safe.
Thanks for having me, and I'll speak to you all. I'll speak to you all later.
No problem, Marty.
See you later. Hey, Marty.
See you later. Bye.
And thank you for letting me come on as usual. No, I've had a good time. So
No
see
problem.
you guys at the weekend.
We'll drop the link to the channel in the chat, the usual. So thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it, Charlotte.
Yep, no,
have a good
always
night.
ready, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye, Charlotte. Bye.
Bye, Charlotte.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello, Daniel. Daniel's in the chat. Hello, Dave.
Yes.
Right. What else have you got the shows there, PD?
Just let me drop something in the chat, and I'll be right with you.
No,
Yeah, I've sent you my stuff as well on the.
So the link to the Daniel's channel will be in the chat, right? We're just going to throw the channels in the chat, so they'll be in the chat. So just keep an eye out for them during the night.
And if you check out Daniel's channel next Friday evening, I'll be joining him for a little chat about good old wrestling. So try and jump in with that if you can.
That's it. Back in the day when it was actually decent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why we're sort of going to be talking about some of the shows from years gone by, because they're a lot better than what we've got now, which kind of rings true with a lot of franchises at the moment. It's sort of seeping into every kind of medium of entertainment.
Yeah, I know. I can't take that stuff serious anymore, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, check it out because it will be an interesting chat as always. And if you are a fan of I call it WWF. It was World Wrestling Federation.
Yeah.
And
then the bloody wildlife had to stick their oars in.
Yeah. So they changed it to WWE then. Yeah. So,
what wrestling was on Channel 4 the other night? I was watching it and thinking it was so slow now.
Oh, I know they're showing repeats of Raw on either Channel 4 or Channel 5. I think it's Channel 5. I could be wrong, but yeah, it's very slow.
Yeah. It's not as good or as entertaining as it used to be years ago when we watched it. Some superstars and megastars, like now they're just it's gotten ridiculous now.
Flips and kicks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
PD, have you got those?
Just about to share. Yeah, I don't know who I was watching.
Be interested to see what disaster area has for us actually.
Okay,
and Lee, if you want to get ready as well and start screen sharing your stuff as well, so it's ready to go.
No, I've DM'd you.
Oh man, can you not just screen share it?
No, it doesn't work for me. I'm on a Mac. It doesn't like it.
Take. Right. Okay.
He has to think differently, doesn't he?
Right. Right. Listen, I don't have to keep. I don't want to keep repeating myself. But as I said before, we're not going to be insulting any people in the chat. So if I see any insulting comments, they're going to be removed. I don't want to be hearing that J-Bot news are rubbish anymore. You're going to say goodnight, just say goodnight. You don't have to add goodnight J-Bot losers. There's no J-Bots watching.
But hey,
Disaster Area's custom figures.
Hey,
Wow.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I don't. You have to ask him in the chat what they are. But I think this is the thingy of.
Well, if he throws up a comment, Jet, while we throw up each picture,
Yeah.
we throw
well, you
each
can
comment
see Tom Baker there. You can see
Yeah.
Peter Davison there. Troughton, by the it might not be Troughton. It might be
Colin Baker, I think, is there.
the one with the orange gloves looks like Troughton.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, but
Yeah.
it might
be
be Rassilon. Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
Come on, Disaster Area. Tell us what they are.
Tell us who they are. Get on with it.
Yeah.
The one in the white is the president
Yeah.
from Deadly Assassin
Bruce,
before he
is
gets
that
shot.
Bruce?
Oh yeah, Bruce.
And is the Castellan from Invasion of Time there?
He looks like the one in the far right hand corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
Disaster Area
this
says
is-
classic Time Lords.
That's all he said. Classic Time Lords. If you want to give a bit more detail than that, that'd be fantastic. We're trying to figure out which classic Time Lords. So actually, if you could name them all, that would be brilliant. Could you name the Time Lords?
pressure.
Plus Tom.
From
Thomas Time
left to right.
Yeah.
Right.
Left
Plus-
is Thomas Time Lord.
Right,
Yeah,
plus Tom is a Time Lord. Right, so we can identify one, but can you just name them all, and then I'll throw them up on screen so everybody can know what they are, because people are intrigued. I think one is Colin Baker anyway. I could be wrong.
I can't see Colin. Well, I can see Peter Davison's face, and I can see
I
potentially.
think the one in the middle, the gold one, I think that's Colin Baker.
No, he's got
No.
grey hair, and
No, that's just the
Like
standard
orange
Time
hair.
Lord head.
Yeah. It's modern Colin Baker.
yeah, no, he'd be twice the
White hair.
size.
White hair.
Yeah,
And
Do me a
It's
favour,
just a
guys,
curator.
don't smash the like button if you don't mind. 4 dislikes for this stream. I wonder what we said that's offensive to people out there.
Yeah, you
Just
just
anything,
decided to.
really.
Yeah, you
Saying
screamed.
hello.
That was your
Existing.
crime. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good
Existing.
crime, isn't it?
crime for existing, no.
Yeah, I've
That's
got 4 dislikes on my title
females.
video as well. So there we go.
That would be Chibnall, Whitaker, Wenger, and
Yeah.
the fourth can be a mystery.
Ben Cook.
Yeah,
Ben Cook. Definitely Ben Cook.
Right,
Yeah.
there's no particular, just different
I never
type.
even spoke to that guy once, and he blocked me. Of course, that was quite amusing.
Okay.
Yeah, brilliant.
Oh God, yeah.
Right, do you
Did
want to go
something
to
right.
the next image, PD?
Next slide, if I can find the window. The window is here, and ping.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Your favorite. That's your favorite.
Right, well, that doesn't need any explanation. Holy moly.
These are most of these are customs, by the way.
I love them. Very
Oh, great.
good.
Night Terrors.
Yeah.
which
That is
pretty-
deadly. That's a good episode, by the
Yeah,
way.
one of
One of your
Gattis's
favourite-
better ones, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah. God, I couldn't stand his robots to show.
very,
Oh.
very good. Very good.
I didn't
Yeah.
mind that one, to be honest.
No.
Yeah,
it
I
was-
watched it back recently, and it was like, oh, actually, it's more of a fun romp than I remembered it being in the beginning. So yeah, it's not too
Yeah.
bad.
Disaster, what kind of materials are you using? If you want to throw that up as well, let people know what kind of materials you used to create these. That'd be very interesting to know. PD, go on to the next one.
Next slide, okay. And this is when we got to Bogner.
Ah,
They're
classic Silurians.
What
Lovely.
can you say? Bring
Yeah,
them back.
great.
Bring them back.
Properly,
Yeah,
not those,
proper
not those
Silurian.
weird human hybrid looking.
No, I think there
Abomination.
should be a like a classic Silurians versus the modern Silurians, and it's like they were genetic manipulation, like breeding them with the humans to kind of boost their numbers, and then then they formed like a separatist movement, and then now the proper Solarians want to wipe them out. And
Lee sounds like we've written a whole episode about it already. I love it.
I totally have worked this all out. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a good idea actually, because they could be hybrids themselves to be more like humans. They communicate better with humans,
so they can live better above ground. And,
It did say be back in 1,000 years, so maybe.
Oh, that's from
nice.
Oh, what's it? The
Unknown.
Mission to the Unknown. Yeah, the Hartnell Light.
Yeah.
They're fantastic.
Very good.
Wow.
Love it.
That is fantastic.
Love the table as well.
It even has Smurf guy in it.
Yeah.
No, it's the flump. It's a cyber flump.
Cyber flump, yeah. Cyber Smurf.
Looks a bit like Lord Buckethead, doesn't he?
Yeah. God on the left looks like Buckethead. Yeah.
That's very
the
good.
guy with the lots of wieners on his face.
Yeah. Remember, this was a couple of years before Star Trek, so.
Very true.
Yeah. Kind of Lost in Space era, wasn't it? They did this.
Yeah.
How does the guy who's just a pillar move?
Very slowly.
He looks like a church. Like,
he does a bit. No, he looks like a king, from a chess piece,
Yeah, they just left him there like this.
Well, we are the knights who say knee.
Yeah. He just looks so Rick and Morty, doesn't he? I come from the planet chess piece. We are all chess pieces. Yeah. Great figure. Great line. Yeah, great figures, though.
They should do a comic with that chess piece versus the Daleks.
Oh, I love that.
Ooh, lovely.
Yeah, was that Planet of the Daleks or Death of the Daleks? Planet of the Daleks.
Planet.
That's the doorway.
Love that. Yeah.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
What's that?
I don't know what they are, but the other ones are whatchamacallit, Silurians.
The Sea Devils. Yeah.
Sea Devils.
I remember that monster with the eyes.
Yeah, that was the monster with the eyes, wasn't it? The kind of the bubble wrap monster, wasn't it?
Didn't they basically just reuse that from Terror of the Autons? It was like a similar sort of monster.
Yeah.
That they just repainted.
Yeah. Oh, that's good old days. Good old days.
Not Terror of the Autons, Claws of Axos. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm getting me Pertwee.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the good old days. I'm starting to reminisce about good old Doctor Who now.
Yeah. See, this is what's been missing for the last 4 years, 5 years even.
I know. It's sad, isn't it? Oh my god.
I hate this story, but that looks amazing.
Now, I wanted to ask her what my display, my ethics kit was to go with his.
The last photograph was the Sea Devils and the Pod. It was called the Pod.
Oh, the Pod.
Yeah, it's just easy because I have it on slow mode. He's 15 seconds behind, so I'll wait until the next comment. So before you change that image, I'll just wait for his next comment to come up. He's catching up, but
yeah. Who loves a Dalek though? That's a damaged old Dalek.
That was the transport pod. Yeah, we figured it. We figured it out. It's grand. It's grand. Okay. People are very militant in the chat when they're
but they know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
because when you see it on screen and then you see it as a separate entity that's and it's all clean and it's all you can see what it is. Yeah, it's weird.
Oh yeah, so
it's styling up the Daleks. Yeah. Right, you can move on to the next image there if there's another one. And I've got
I haven't seen this one yet.
Patrick Troughton days.
The land of
you should have it. You should have it in your collection.
I do have it. I just haven't got round to watching it in my marathon because I have to wait for Evil of the Daleks to come out.
Yeah, well, if the animation from the latest is out to go, boy, guys, we're in for a rough ride because the animation of the episode that the animated
Evil does look a little bit better than that.
That was really weird, wasn't it? It was
I was sticking with the telesnaps on the DVD.
It was very, very weird.
So bad. So bad.
Yeah.
It's such a shame because it's Nicholas Courtney's first appearance.
Exactly.
I know. They appears again in the Invasion, doesn't he?
Oh, they'll redo that at some point in the next 10 years or something.
They've got to.
And they make even more money from it.
That's it.
Exactly.
It looked like a poor child's animation. It was awful.
I could do a better
Yeah.
job by stop motion with my figures.
It was so
Yeah.
cheap.
You could
It's so obviously done on the cheap. It's like, look, you want our money, but you want to, do it on such a cheap. It's
Exactly.
just it makes you feel
Insulting.
like you're not valued if they
Exactly. It's insulting. to the fans.
slapdash unfinished looking work.
They should have just done it 2D, just totally like the
Yeah.
last one. Do one
Yeah,
of
but
the
I
same
bet you
unit.
wouldn't it be jokes if they found the real episode next year? It's
Oh,
like, oh well, I
please,
guess there's a
please,
special
fine,
edition
but-
coming.
Yeah.
Like, that's-
Extra special.
Let's get that episode. Everyone look under your sofa, in your attic, whatever.
Yeah.
Let's erase this
Yeah.
episode that they've destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was I going to
Come
say?
on.
The very first special edition was the first DVD they released was the 5 Doctors, and then they released another version.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the 25th anniversary version.
Yeah, that was crazy. I actually
Now,
had the original.
Next
Okay,
one.
move on.
Peter, yeah, keep going.
Oh,
Oh god,
can I have them?
they look great, but the episode itself, I'm not a fan of.
Oh, the episode was terrible.
Oh,
It's okay if you're on
my
drugs.
Yeah, it's very true.
I've got to try that. Loads of weed and just watch that episode. if it makes any sense.
It's very button move level.
Yeah.
We watched it. Didn't we watch it?
Yeah, but it's got
not
so much
bad.
charm. It's
Yeah.
the
I
noise.
nearly
though. It's the
cried when that little
constant
caterpillar person dies.
noise. Oh. Little
I'll
flash-
know what he was on.
It's just where the other insect like characters come out and they're like
Yeah, that's the one. I thought it was all right. It's not the. Listen, in fairness, it's not the greatest story, but it was very interesting. Look, they tried stuff,
I know,
it started out really intriguing, but then I think it was bloated as well. 6 parts.
Planet of the Giants wasn't. Planet of the Giants was also one that was intriguing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the big match.
There we
box.
go, from the web planet for anybody.
It's everyone's favourite penis in a cape,
Yeah.
as Uncle Terry called it. Terrence Dix.
Oh, you ruined it for me now.
Amazing.
That's what you watch. You watch the special editions of anything to do with Peladon, and Terrence Dix will constantly call Alpha Centauri a penis in a cape.
Yeah, it's very
Constantly.
phallic.
Yeah. he said they're going to put.
It is one of the weird designs, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it the same voice actress who did the old great one in Planet of Spiders as well, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Same voice actress.
Alpha Centauri came back actually, made a very brief appearance in a New Who.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Oh.
was it the last
Alpha Centauri.
Alpha Centauri?
Yeah, so I just went off to get some anti.
Okay.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Yeah.
It is
It
great
is.
though. Yeah.
Was it? It was the one with the Ice Warriors on Mars in the
Empress
Victoria
and
Age.
Mars.
That's the one. It was Empress and Mars.
Oh, he was in that. Oh, I didn't.
Very
Yeah, at the
good.
end, yeah.
Very
Oh,
close.
okay. I'll have to rewatch that.
Yeah, that's what I like about the episode because it's going back to classic Who, and I think
Yeah.
there's a few more throwbacks to classic Who every once in a while.
Because I haven't really revisited series 10 much. I didn't think it was
Yeah,
terrible.
that story was not very good in my opinion, but that nice surprise at the end was great.
Yeah, that's what I just need to do every once in a while. Just revisit something old,
Next one.
Okay.
Oh, I'm stumped.
Invasion of Time.
That's it.
Yes.
Is it?
The Vardens.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Of course. The tinsel.
Damn,
Come
how
on,
did we
guys,
not-
you grew up with this show, and I know more.
I know, but we've.
I haven't seen it in a while.
We watch it so
Technically,
much,
I didn't grow up with it, but
that it's like there's so much info like that.
But you're also used to seeing figurines of stuff, and I don't have any figurines, so I'm just like I'm not used to seeing them in this sort of format. So yeah.
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 They should look like tinfoil, really.
Yeah, just get a bit of baco foil. That's what you should have put in the photograph at the back, like bits of strips of baco foil.
Are you all critiquing his work now, is?
No, I'm just saying, like, you know, to
Plastico
represent
chrome,
their
mate.
other
Lots
form.
of
Sorry about
plastic.
that disaster. I don't mind them.
Yeah.
It's
Lots of
absolutely
plastico
fantastic.
chrome, mate. You know, that really makes it go really shiny. Don't use the health and stuff; it comes off in 2
I'm
minutes.
only joking, but
Yeah.
they do have a point. But they are.
I love
great.
the detail in all of these.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
look absolutely like shop ready, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next.
Brilliant.
Yay.
I will buy that from you.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
See,
That
that's
is
the
really
thing
cool.
everybody wants, isn't
That's
it? With
spot
the
on.
plastic
Everyone.
clout.
Oh yeah.
It
They
should come
want
with an
the
accessory, a little
and a
orb.
Jamie.
Yeah, 100%.
That's definitely the Mark
That's
1,
amazing.
yeah. See, not the Mark.
Yeah, they
2.
still haven't released a Jamie figure, not one,
No.
have they? Like,
Not
I
really
mean,
reclaimed.
every character on you know under the sun except for Jamie.
Jamie, and
Maybe
he's
Yeah,
the
we're
longest
getting him.
serving, wasn't he? Longest served, well, but by episodes, he was in the most, wasn't he?
Oh,
Yeah.
until our Clara came along. Yeah.
Yeah, we are getting an Ian Chesterton figure this year at some point. It'll be
Oh,
coming
Good
out
old
next week.
Chesterfield, yeah.
Chesterton.
Chesterton.
Yeah. Oh, Chesterfield.
Chesterton.
Chesterfield.
Chesterfield.
He always used to call him, he always used to call
Is
him
he
the wrong
upholstered
thing.
or what? You know,
Yeah, he used to always call him the wrong thing.
I think at first it was like accidental, and then they just ran with it deliberately.
Yeah.
After that, it's just like, yeah, don't worry about it.
It's the second version of the Yeti.
Oh, it's second version, Web of Fear version.
Well, fear, yeah.
Yeah, the
Right,
underground
go
one.
over to the next one. Once I put up these comments, it changed to
That
the
is
next.
amazing.
I want that
photo.
console. I want that console. I want
Yeah.
it now. I want it
Yeah.
yesterday. I want
Take
another
my
one
money.
tomorrow.
Look at the detail, though. Look at the
Beautiful.
detail on it.
Unbelievable detail.
Absolutely
Yeah.
beautiful. Give me that. I want it now.
That is self-explanatory, but we'll
Yeah.
wait for the comment. But
Yeah.
that is brilliant.
Yeah.
It'd be
I was
deadly
watching the
if-
web. I was watching, what is it, Colony of Space the other day, and I think that's the last time I think you see what's Patrick Troughton's console.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh.
Before it got-
No, it's an Inferno. That's the last time you see the
Oh,
classic.
that's it. That it gets partially
classic
restored
console.
after Inferno. But that's the first time. Sorry,
Oh, yeah, of
Classic-
course.
And it was
classic
looking really
console
scuffed
room.
up.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Oh, the
yeah.
room. Okay.
With the old classic black and white, background, because it was all done in black and
Blown
white.
up.
So they just painted it in
Yeah.
black and white. It was like, it's so weird when the camera pans around the room, suddenly everything's in color and it goes to black and white. Like, what? Yeah, but yeah, it was Inferno. Was the last time you actually saw the original Tardis console before it got a slight refit.
Yeah.
Daniel, I despise Clara with every fibre of my being. Yeah, she's a pain in the ass.
Victorian Clara would have been so much more.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate her in series.
Next.
Okay, I think that might. Oh no, we got.
Oh, brilliant.
Galaxy 4.
Hey, Galaxy 4.
That is
Chumblies.
deadly. Yes, that's deadly. And the little wheels, you can see them on the bottom, the little wheels.
Yeah.
Look.
You should be getting a job at character options or whatever. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Very, very impressive, have to say. Disaster.
Great.
Thanks
Really
for
great.
allowing PD Rich to
Yeah.
share these. If you'd like me to feature these on a little video, let PD Rich know, and I'll put them up on a video. And obviously, I'll put you.
And if you're doing any commissions or something, put a contact detail on there as well. So if people want to contact
exactly,
you,
yeah, exactly. So I can put a contact detail if you're actually doing. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Very good idea.
Yeah, 2 more to go.
That's brilliant. Right, go. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant!
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Oh,
Wow.
never Silurian, newer one.
Yeah, that was the one from the Peter Davison era, wasn't it? And you've got the Sea
Terror
Devil
of the
there
Deep
from the
Warriors of the Deep, was it?
Warriors of
Deep.
the Deep. That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you've got the what do you call it
Mandrill.
from Mandrill from the
Nightmare of Eden.
Nightmare of Eden, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Good episode that was Nightmare in Eden.
The
It's
Dread
serial.
Bust.
Mm.
That's it. It was such a weird one. It was like such a
It is
These
Rick
very
and Morty
creatures are
trippy.
episode.
basically cocaine.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, that era was suspect at best, but it still had a few
I
gems in
know.
it, didn't it?
Such a Rick and Morty episode, that one. It's so
Yeah.
great. It was like made like that 40 years before Rick and Morty. Yeah.
It is very trippy.
Yeah. Great, yeah. And I think the last one.
The rescue.
Oh my God.
That's it. The rescue.
Oh yeah, of course.
The creature was actually a guy in a suit.
That would impress me so much if you had like a removable head and you've got the guy underneath.
Yeah. Interchangeable heads.
It came with a Vicky figure. Yeah, it came with a 2-pack Vicky figure.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Be a Comic-Con exclusive 2-pack.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's strictly limited edition.
Yeah, to that.
I'd fly over there just to get it.
$250. There you go.
Worth the entry fee alone.
Gosh, that costs like 50 quid to get to Comic Con now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So is Disaster Area selling any of these, or does commissions let us know?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I want
And
a
I think,
console
we're back to the Time Lords.
badly when I can.
There we go.
Right. Thank you for that disaster area. And as I said,
nice
if you
one.
want me to share those, and if you have contact details, if you're doing
Yeah,
commissions,
thanks,
from
disaster.
anybody, let PD Rich know. He'll pass the message on to me. And if there's any more that you'd like to share that we haven't seen, send them and I'll throw them up on a video. But this is Lee's work, so obviously we have a campaign going, a hashtag Shane for 14. Would you like to tell everybody how you come up with all the concept for this and stuff? And
Well, I had a lot of elements from the video, so I just used those and sort of made layers with them and effects on them, and found some great pictures of Michael Sheen and just kind of toyed around with it, and that's it really. Just a bit of fun.
I mean that just looked absolutely perfect for the the opening titles. Just his face there reminds me of Tom Baker so much.
Yeah, exactly. I did use that picture for the very end of the title sequence that I did, but you've got the Hartnell kind of shapes going off, and you can see his face just appearing there briefly, and then it disappears and merges in with it. So that was the picture I actually used. But
yeah, it's just it's work of genius, mate. Honestly, give yourself a pat on the back.
wait till you see this one. Wait till you see this one, lads. Be amazed at this one. That's obviously the side view that he did for the little trailer too, but that's absolutely.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Just screams
that on the CD.
I love that picture.
Yeah.
It's very good. It's very good. And we'll just hold on. Right, we got another one. Oh, I like this one. If you want me to work them up as well, Lee, let me know, man.
Sure.
And I'll put the link to your channel as well in the link description of the video, so people know where to go. But have a look at this one, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was originally a photograph picture done by someone called Andrew Creative, I think, ArtStation or something, and it was he did a fantastic Photoshop job of Michael Sheen and put him in a sort of costume with bow tie and stuff and looking very doctorish. So I thought I'd use that and kind of homage to that. But I hope they don't mind. But I did it in the best of intentions, obviously.
Sure,
they did a brilliant one, like a faux Big Finish cover as well, with Tardis and a time vortex at the back, which looked really good. But I just used that image because I just thought, well, it screams Michael Sheen as the Doctor, so I had to use it. But do go and check him out on ArtStation, Andrew.Creative, with a no E at the end, just an apostrophe. And there's my last one.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
sorry.
very good. Very good.
Sorry, guys, I really have to go.
Okay, buddy.
No
Take care,
problem.
Jack.
Jack.
Take it
Thanks
easy,
for
Jack.
coming on.
Have a good one,
Nice
Jack.
to speak to you, mate.
Thanks for showing my artwork off.
No
was great.
problem. You're more than welcome.
Awesome.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good
Bye,
night.
buddy. You
You
take
too,
care.
mate. Take it easy.
Bye.
Now, do you want me to show this next one off, Lee?
Yeah, I think it will act as a bit of an advert.
Okay.
I'm sure the rabbi won't mind, but
Right, just want to make sure. Just want
this
to
is
make
my
sure.
alternative cover for the rabbi's new up and coming campaign for his comic book.
Right.
Oh, nice. That's very
Crown
good.
of the Empire. So there you go. That's for his up and coming. It's a very steampunk kind of story, like if the British Empire discovered alien technology and
Very fast, but
re-engineered it and took over the solar system. It's kind of mad. And you've got like it's kind of like if the film Zulu was in space.
I love that.
Yeah.
Zulu in space. What
I
a
better
tagline.
get to know this because I've got to be plugging it soon.
Yeah.
For another year.
That's brilliant.
Oh, yeah. Still available is old Indiegogo, by the way, if anyone's interested.
Nice.
Be shutting down soon. But it's a rabbi soon. Bit of like Gary Early.
All right, so we've got a bit of time then.
Yeah. You might give it a week or two. You might have a week or two if you're lucky.
Or maybe a year or two.
No, I think it will be shut down sometime this year, but I don't know.
Well, where about the first campaign that we were all involved in? Is that closed down now?
That's still going.
same
That's the
one.
one that's still going. This is the next campaign. Crown of the Empire.
All right. Should he not finish off the first campaign before he starts? the
Yeah,
second
well,
campaign?
that's what he's going to do. So I just thought I'd give people a sneak.
Yeah. Our good friend's being a bit pernickety. He wants to kind of clean a few pages up and rewrite a couple of bits.
Yeah.
It happens. You're just about to send out something. Hang on a minute. I don't like that. Start checking.
Right, turn it up. Start again.
Yep, that's it. Yeah. He's ripped off his whole comic book and starts again. And be ready by 2026.
If we're lucky.
If you're lucky.
Suddenly gets a massive email from us. What the bleeping hell are you doing? Oh, yeah. That's Indiegogo.
Right. Well, yeah. Check out his Indiegogo. Hopefully, everybody that's gone along and supported it. Hopefully, his sketches are comics in the next century.
Yeah.
By
the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm only ripping the piss because, as you know, we all know what Rabbi is like. But
in his defense, it is his first Indiegogo campaign. He's learned a lot. So
yeah. I mean, most of these campaigns go on forever anyway because you've got to build up and then you've got to do all the work to get it done. And of course, it's his first, so it's a learning curve, and then hopefully the next one will be out quicker. But I mean, he does update everyone every single bloody day. To be fair, so
yeah.
So I'd say to those people, go and check out Rabbi's channel so you can be kept well informed. How long are we going for? 2 hours, 14 minutes. We can go for another half hour or so.
I did send you a link to something that Bradley posted up on Twitter.
I seen the photograph from the TV show Pointless.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's so funny.
I'll throw that up, all right.
Yeah, definitely.
BBC are dicks about it, that they'll, but we'll put it up because it's only a photograph. But yeah, this is hilarious. When you all see this, I was breaking my belly laughing when he sent it to me. I mean, the BBC are just. I think they're just taking the piss now at this stage. To be honest with you, I think
maybe they are. Yeah, I mean, this must have passed some sort of committee or other.
Yeah, this is definitely taking the piss. This is someone that is definitely not a fan of this air. I'm telling you, man. This. You will see what I'm talking about. But this is fucking.
It's pure gold. Pure gold.
You'll never see something so funny in all your life, right? So here we go. He's ready to have a bit of a laugh because this will make his laugh. And then actually, I want to show you something a little bit serious. I just want to show you a photograph that I was sent, and it's from Australia apparently. So if there's any Australian people watching us, I'd like some clarification, because if this photograph is indeed a real photograph, I have to say the Australians are totally disgusting.
Right. Well, you can't rubbish an entire country.
Right. Well, obviously, I'll just say that the people behind this photograph and company should be ashamed of themselves. But let's be honest, Australia has become so fucking woke that I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, we'll come to that. In the meantime, everyone's soaking this up. Let's get on to this one first, because Doctor
Who actors not playing the Doctor. Obviously, Patrick Troughton there, Peter Davison, Sylvester McCoy, but we got Jodie Whittaker there, and John Pertwee.
So anyone who's not familiar with Pointless, it's a quiz show, and the more obscure the answer, the more points you get. And like 0 is pointless, so then you win because you get the least obvious answer. Yeah. So Jodie Whittaker, as you can see, I mean, Patrick Troughton's got 23, Peter Davison 44, Sylvester McCoy 18, and John Pertwee 60. So everyone recognizes John Pertwee, so that's a high score. But the lowest score, not Pointless, sadly, but I mean, if it was, that would be.
It was Jodie Whittaker.
It was Jodie Whittaker at 16 points.
So again, it's just another indication, though, that that Doctor Who's fallen so low that they make the
people
joke.
Don't even recognize her as the
Doctor. They don't even recognize her. But I do want to get a little bit serious at the moment, because we've seen over the last few years that children seem to be more and more getting more sexualized. We had that TV show from Netflix, Cuties, or the movie that caused a lot of controversy. Well, I was sent a photograph of a diaper company, as Americans would call it, or a nappy company in Australia, and they have come up with a new design for a nappy. Basically, this is a thing that kids shit in when they're babies, because they can't clean themselves and shit like that. Like, we are all babies, so we all wore a nappy at one stage. But I want to show you this, because I think this is totally disgusting. And remember, we talk about different topics on this, but I'm so outraged by this myself that I had to bring it up tonight. And I think this is bang out of order. Again, we seem to be going into an era where we want to, where the people seem to want to sexualize kids. And I think it's absolutely disgusting, to be quite honest. So I'm going to get up the picture now. Hold on. And I'm going to show you this. Just give us a second. Now, apparently these are real, right? So the person that sent this said they're real, they're from Australia. So if anybody from Australia can actually verify this, absolutely fantastic. But what I'm about to show you might upset some people. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a public image, it's a brand, so I should have no problem sharing it. But I'm just going to let you know, if there's any sensitive people out there, this may rub you up the wrong way. But
Trigger warning.
This may upset some. It certainly didn't with me. So apparently they've got these in Australia, and as you can see, they call them.
Fuck's sake! Are you kidding?
What the fuck is that all
about? That's not real. That can't be real.
Go on Google it. Go and check it out. But
no, that's not real.
No, I'm telling you.
No, don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
No, that's bollocks.
It has to be bollocks. Because if that is real, then that's another level of just.
Well, it won't catch any crap though.
Right, well, hold on. I'll tell you now.
Exactly, it's nonsense.
Well, yeah, from a practical point of view as well. Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Hold on. Right, so that's what I was sent. And they are real.
Yeah, they're real, but they make that absolutely no point. They're pointless.
They are real. They're real. There they are on the supermarket shelf here. I'll show you. They're actually real.
Holy
This-
shit!
This is what I'm talking about. They've been doing this for the last few years, doing stuff like this, and I'm sorry, but it's totally.
It's not. Hold on. The March 20th of March 2014. I keep seeing these. So this is old, right? This is. I'm looking at Crunchyroll.com, posted on the 20th of January, February, March. Because I got the American way around. 2014. I keep seeing these pictures on Facebook with the baby wearing a diaper thong. Isn't that inappropriate? Blah 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 blah.
It's real. I'm looking at a photograph from a supermarket. They're real. They're introducing them into America now. Apparently, this is why it's resurfaced. But yeah, they've been in Australia.
No, I don't think so. I don't
They
think
are.
so.
I'm looking at images from supermarkets. Why would I make it up?
It can't be.
Well, it is real. I know it's hard to believe, but there you go. This is what's been happening anyway. So I want that,
Chris just said, no, I just checked Woolworths, Australia's largest supermarket, and it's not part of their inventory. Someone's pulling a trick. Well, yeah, I mean, fucking hell.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a sick trick to pull, but in a way, hopefully it is just a trick because that's just obscene.
But that's one supermarket, right? They could be in other supermarkets. So just because one supermarket is not selling them doesn't mean that they could be a specialized thing. You know?
I don't think it's. Not sure. It looks a bit sus. I'm just saying.
Well, if they
It's a
are
type.
real, if they are real,
Yeah, I've just checked it. It's take it easy there. This is a joke. It's fake. There you go.
Yeah.
Where? On what? What are you reading that on?
That was hold on. howtobeadad.com.
Howtobeadad.com.
Yeah, this is all from like 2014. Not real, but hilarious.
Just as the
Something
dark times were starting to appear, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just as the dark times were starting, yeah.
Yeah, it's not real.
Well, they seem to be up on sites there, man. So I don't know.
It's still not real.
It
So
wouldn't
you
work
mean
anyway.
to tell me that someone went through all the effort to even post it up on sites where you
Look,
can order stuff?
either someone's pulling your leg or they've been hoodwinked. But
Well,
this is
no,
old
the
news.
person that sent it to me was Marie, and she's as you know, she always sends me some stuff, and she's always legit. So she wouldn't have sent it if she didn't think they were real.
Yeah, well, if you type in thongies, right, and then you on Google, and then you click on shopping, right, it doesn't. Yeah, I mean,
No.
he's hot. Okay, but
Thongs, yeah.
it doesn't have any such product. It doesn't exist. So put that to bed right away.
God for that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And like PD said, it wouldn't be practical anyway. There's no.
I mean,
it wouldn't work.
to be fair, in this day and age, something like that wouldn't be inconceivable. When
No,
we're talking about
yeah.
like people
Well,
who make
that's
penis packers
yeah.
and stuff like that.
But
You know,
fair enough. Fair enough. If you're saying they're fake, they're fake. But what you call
Yeah.
it? We thought was
Yeah,
It's a
well,
bit
you
sus
can
to
let
hear, mate.
you can let her know and then put her mind at rest that it's
yeah. As a mother and a
joke from
grandmother, she's seen this, and you know herself.
2014. Yeah,
So yeah, they're not real.
No. not real. There you go. See, I can spot these things
that's
a
something,
mile
but in
away.
fairness, if they did do something like that, it would be very outrageous. But because
Well, I mean, as I said, you
Especially
know,
Australia, my God.
in this day and age, it's so not inconceivable. You know, but as I said, you know, we know for sure that people are manufacturing what they call penis packers, right, to put into the pants of what they perceive to be transgendered children.
Yeah.
It's such a non thing. But it's not inconceivable. But thankfully, as I've just shown,
No. I've checked now. Yeah, I've checked that site and I've checked others. Yeah, it was done for a joke, but even doing something for a joke is actually disgusting. Why would someone joke about something like that? Obviously, then they were trying to get a reaction, like they'd get a reaction out of me because that would be outrageous. But we have seen, and it is,
weird stuff. Yeah,
it is weird stuff, and it does happen around the world with all of this crap. So I suppose I seen it there, just thought it was worth highlighting anyway. But thanks be to God, they are fake. But yourselves, the world that we're living in, the climate that we're living in now, as society is
It's very easy to be taken in.
yeah.
Not beyond the
God
realms
is
of
so fucking
possibility.
crazy. So I mean,
Yeah. No, David Rayner just said Netflix are making a Thongies movie. Again,
that's
be beyond
funny.
the realms of possibility either.
based in Australia.
Thongies?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Get Matt Pot in it.
Skippy.
Put him in a thongy. Love it.
Don't me, mate.
Amazon a disaster area put a comment there. Amazon are showing a Gary Glitter documentary. Well,
Oh, I know. I heard about that.
yeah, well, there has been
Isn't it?
rumors actually. Nice little segue, actually. We haven't spoke about this in a while. So remember, BBC were thinking about doing a Jimmy Savile. This was talked about in the media months ago. Now, I don't know if there is any fresh updates on it, but they were actually thinking of producing. I think it's a autobiography drama on the whole Jimmy Savile.
Just let it go, for God's sake. The guy's dead, and it's
well,
done.
here's the thing, though. I said
Yeah.
at the time when I was doing the video on it, it's quite funny that like BBC think they can.
They are the last people on earth who should be doing it.
Exactly. We would never have known the depravity of him if it wasn't for ITV, that show, that investigative show that they did. This should be taken, if this show is even considered, I think it's sick anyway, because you're gonna basically, the victims of Jimmy Savile are gonna relive all of this again, and I don't think it's appropriate. But if they are determined to do it, it shouldn't be done by BBC. It should be done by someone outside the BBC.
Or someone.
Because you know what they're like. They'll end up trying to make him some sort of like misunderstood victim.
Yeah.
Well, remember what they did? You knew about the allegations, and what did they do? They still had the Jimmy Savile night where they did all his, where they had a celebratory night, celebrating all the shows that he'd done. It was hosted by different hosts, right? They had known at the time, right? Because they were told that was, and they still went ahead with it. This is why BBC are actually in the position that they're in today. And this is why they have pandered so hard, because they are trying to make up for that. But they have overcompensated. You can always make up to the British public. You'll never make up to the victims. That's a different story. But to get back the British public back on side, they didn't need to go to the extreme left and pander to them, right? All they just needed to do was, come out with a sincere apology. Obviously, continue to make great programs that appeal to everybody, and then sooner or later, then I'm not saying that people would forgive BBC or kind of move on, but you know what I mean. They'd be able to kind of say, okay, they are making the changes, they are trying to be better, and the culture at the BBC has changed, but it's gone to the extreme left now, and that's wrong. You know what I mean? So. Jimmy Savile, Gary Glitter, all of these were on BBC premises and did some disgusting, horrific things. And then we hear about Noel Clarke. So again, the more ammunition now against them, and it's just ridiculous. But look, for me, everybody, BBC handled it wrong. They did make mistakes, but they're not, as far as I'm concerned, they're not irredeemable. They can redeem themselves. They really can, but they have to, stop going the way they're going about it, because they have alienated the rest of the British public.
They doubled down. That was their problem.
Yeah, but not only Doctor Who has been affected. Look at EastEnders, for example.
Well, it's a mess now.
Well, it's a mess, a complete mess.
8 million
now.
for a new set, and it shows a
I
mess.
know, and it's not even going to get the numbers to pay for that. Look at fucking Top Gear. That's gone a complete joke as well.
That's just
Most of those shows like that they have. So there is. It's great to hear when we hear the stuff about Doctor Who in particular. That there does seem to be a positive change happening there, and we kind of went full circle because we brought it back to Doctor Who again. But I wanted to finish with Doctor Who because I want to ask is now with all of this, with the evidence shown now, right? We could see that there seems to be at least a move towards maybe doing the right thing by Doctor Who. Now, a few months ago, a lot of us on the panel here probably would have had a different opinion on that. Can I ask you now, with all the stuff that we have been hearing rumor-wise and the stuff that Chris Chibnall came out with in that interview, does it give you some sort of optimism for the future? Do you think the BBC will indeed make the changes that are necessary for Doctor Who to move to the next level now? And we'll start with Enigmatic Joker because he hasn't spoken in a while. Enigmatic Joker, if you'd like to give your thoughts on that. Do you think BBC will be able to win back the fans, firstly, the British public? And do you think they can actually pull this whole thing off? Do you think they will change in a different direction?
It is necessary. Also for the finances, is mentioned last streams. The finances are still down. Is it so in England that you must pay a fee or something for BBC or?
Yeah, but just for the licensed arm, the public arm.
Yeah, but what other said is that is much people are not paying at the moment, or
a lot of people are giving it up.
Okay, yeah, it's yes, but it's also necessary, and I think I have hope for the future. So that will go the right way because they must win the fans back, and we see that the fandom now is divided, and they know. I think they know that. And they must work on it to bring it back the fans, and that the enjoyment will be back. So, and it is also they must win money for it back. Yes.
Fantastic. PD, what do you think?
There's more hope for Doctor Who at the moment with the new news and rumours coming out than there is for Star Trek. That's what I'm going to say. I do hope they get it back, but I just, I think it's a bit too late for the corporation, to tell you the truth. I think BBC Studios will probably have to carry it on for a while, then they'll probably go under. Unless they become part of ITV or something, become Arkiva Networks or something. So I'm optimistic, but there could be a rougher seas on the horizon.
Well, that's a good point to make as well. We have to look at both sides of it, and that's very interesting point that you've made. What do you think, Sean?
I'm very, very cautiously optimistic. I think going back to what Lee said earlier, it's if they want to make the right changes. And I think they can make the right changes, but obviously, like I said, they have to really want to, and they need to make it like Lee said earlier, a more collaborative process, of a sort of a controlled collaborative process where they're going in a direction, but they're also considering the fans, considering merchandise, considering the business of Doctor Who, and so it seems with the news coming out, it seems to be going in a good direction. It's whether they can maintain that direction, and I think if you've got someone who really wants to maintain the direction, it can. But But again, it's one of those sort of open-ended. We have to wait and see. But for now, yeah, I think the bridges can be mended. It's just a question of who and how, to be quite honest.
Yeah. I just want to, because I've just seen a comment there before I get Lee in. Retro Dicky says he's worried about what damage Chibnall's going to do before he goes. Hope it does get retconned. Well, if you've listened to what has come out and you've listened to what he has said, you know, it's going to be serialized. It's going to have a continual story arc. And we spoke about on this channel that he had to fix, obviously, the mess that he's created. And to be quite honest with you, if you've listened to the stuff that's coming out, it does look like that is going to happen. So I don't, again, this is another thing that fans that are annoyed with the BBC and are still bitter. And don't get me wrong, I'm still bitter, but I'm more open-minded. I would say the rest of them right now are just not willing to listen to anything that's coming out right now, especially with you know, with the fact that, you know, fans do think they will double down. I don't think they will. I think Chris Chibnall has been told what to do, and I think he'll have to repair the damage that he's done the best that he can. And then I think BBC are hoping then with a big, huge launch for the next era of Doctor Who, they can, you know, catch that spark that they had back in 2005, maybe. And remember, you know, Moffat's one is era is really, you know, some people consider that a kind of a soft reboot. They might do something like that as well. But I don't think BBC are going to allow Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker to double down or triple down on their politics. If they've already been, if they're given a brief, if they're going to be given a brief to a new showrunner, well, you can be goddamn, you could be goddamn pour it on your house that he's been given the same brief too. That now for this series, you've not to pander, you've not to jump on all of these fads. Now he still might do his historical stuff and try do it that way, but he won't. I guarantee you. I think that this season will be less pandering than most of his stuff. He'll still insert some of his own stuff in. Yeah, they won't be able to stop him completely, but definitely I think it'll be toned down for his last season. I can understand why fans feel the other way, but if you look at all the evidence so far and all the stuff that's come out from even himself, you hear about BBC Studios now and all of this. I'm telling you, man, he's been given the brief too. Why would they just give it to the new show? They've given him the brief so where he has to repair whatever he's done and leave the show, as we spoke about on this, in a good state for when the next showrunner takes over. So I don't think personally they're going to do that. I think there is a lot of fans hoping that they do, because they'll be seen as being right. Because let's be honest, there are people that are on the opposite side of the argument right now. Some fans are just stubborn to get behind even the hashtag, because obviously they believe the show is either dead or BBC is going to double and triple down. And I'm being honest, looking, as I said, at all the stuff that I haven't released and stuff that Eddie's been talking about and stuff like that, I think there is a genuine effort by the BBC, because they have no choice. They've been put in a corner now. You know what I mean? They've been put in a hole that they're trying to get out of, and the licensees are not happy. HBO Max is not happy. They're getting all of this pressure. So I don't see how people think that they will when they're under all of this pressure already. You know what I mean? Because if Chris Chibnall was to double or triple down, right? Think about it. They'll kill the show, right? But they're talking about the future, right? They're talking about the future already. They've already spoke about, Piers Wenger's already spoke about the future. Chris Chibnall, even in his interview, spoke about the future. So why would they let him destroy it even further if they're trying to win fans back? People have to look at this logically. Like, you know, you have to put your personal differences and feelings aside. I keep saying it. You know, I know they've hurt us. Of course, they've hurt us. They've done so. They've let Chris Chibnall do a lot of damage to the show. But at the same time, now I can see that there seems to be a genuine effort. So I honestly do not believe that they will allow Chris Chibnall to double and triple down if they're trying to save this show and bring it to a new generation, like they said. Right? That's the tagline. The next generation of the next generation. Right? They're up to something big. So they're not going to allow him mess it up in any way. So I don't believe they will double and triple down. I think he's been given a brief as well, and he's to follow that brief, right? And he's gone, right? They got rid of him, got rid of him and Jodie Whittaker. They're gone. They're never coming back. So they're not going to let them do that if they're already thinking of plans further into the future. I just think there's fans out there that are just stubborn right now because, and I can understand it to a certain extent. But when it comes to that hashtag now, I'm starting to think the way Lee is thinking. It only takes a couple of seconds to put a bloody hashtag up. Like, what agenda or what motivation is there behind not doing it? Do you know what I mean? It
doesn't take long, does it?
Because in fairness, like, you know, if we're not saying we've moved on, we'll never move on for what BBC did. We're willing to give them one last chance to get this right. And with the evidence that's coming out right now, I would say that BBC are really making an effort. So I don't know why we're not encouraging that. I don't know why we're not getting behind that, because we should. And I know that people are afraid to let themselves be opened up again to be hurt. But I genuinely don't believe that they're going to do it this time. And I genuinely don't believe that they're going to allow those two to wreck it even further. It makes no sense if they're talking about.
Look, if they hurt us again, what's going to happen? No one's going to watch it. There you go.
Exactly. So that's why, and if they're talking about the future the way they are, and they're being optimistic about it, they've clearly told him what to do, right? So I think the power that Chibnall once had, right, after each season eroded away, and he has absolutely no say now. He's even said it in an interview. He doesn't know who the next showrunner is. He's not even allowed to make that decision. RTD made that decision. Stephen Moffat made that decision. You all have to look at the evidence. It's all there in front of people's faces, you know? So for those that still won't get behind the hashtag, I'll make one last final plea to you. Get behind it. We want to send a message to the BBC. We want to encourage this, right? From what we're hearing, we want to encourage it. Yes, that's the right thing to do, BBC. Right? While you're at it, here's a little teaser trailer, hashtag Michael Shane. Look, this is what we envisioned the Doctor to be, or the direction we'd like the show to go in. You know, if they're listening to licenses, right? I'm telling you, they're going to be listening to everybody. And for anybody that says that they don't give a shit about polls, I guarantee you they looked at that Radio Times poll.
Yeah.
I guarantee you. This is why they're talking about a legacy episode, the legacy movie. Bring David Tennant back, a male doctor. They're testing the water. Charlotte, I think it was the one that came up at that point. That could be a way of them testing the water to see how a male doctor is received again. Right? But they're very clever. They're using the most popular male doctor, which happens to be David Tennant. Right? Whether people like him or not, he was the most popular doctor. He's the one that wins polls. So I don't.
Incidentally, Noel, Bob Chapek is trying to do the same thing at Disney at the moment. He's trying to give more creative control back to licensing and
exactly, because they're the ones that tell the companies what's selling and what isn't, and how much money they can actually make if they go in this direction or go in that direction. But here, listen, I will leave the last word with Lee. That's why I left them to last, as they say, save the best to last. But Lee, just try and keep it as brief as you can, because I know you like to go into detail, right? You're like me, but I want to finish up before.
Okay, but first things first, I want to say happy birthday to Sylvester McCoy and Sophie Aldred.
Yeah,
happy birthday.
Thank you for the post. I shared it. Yeah, it was their birthday.
And also to happy birthday to the belated and fantastic, glorious, amazing, super incredible Anthony Ainley.
Hey, the master himself.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh yeah, and a happy birthday to a YouTuber out there. Actually, it was his birthday recently. Gary from Nerdrotics.
Yes.
He was
Bill
51.
Gary.
Yeah,
Happy
because
birthday, mate.
there's got to be in a little bit of drama. And again, just to say, we fully support Gary on this channel. It's been very supportive of myself. But I have to say, the latest stuff that's happening, it to me, I'll just briefly say, it stinks of jealousy. In all fairness, and
Well, it's people encroaching onto his space.
Exactly, it was a geek.
to
It
get a
wasn't a fandom
freebie.
menace, as someone tried to suggest out there. It was a fandom menace meetup. No, it wasn't. Right?
No, it was
They
a
made
Friday
it
night
very
type
clear that it was a geeks and gamers and a neurotics meetup. They sorted it all out. They set it all up, and then for someone to
Yeah,
go in,
you don't go in there and then set up your shop and then make money out of it. And,
exactly,
take all the
without
attention
even
away.
asking for permission. And then when you're asked to leave, then you go and do a video and you cry about it, try to get people to sympathize with you. And I wouldn't even mind, like I call that person out, not out, but I was talking to a couple of people behind the scenes on panels, and I told people who I think all the fakes are. And the funny thing is that a lot of them now that are exposing themselves and trying to cancel people are proving me fucking point. I could see straight through all these people. That's the thing. That's why I think that some people don't like me, actually, because I could see through all the fakes, right? And I even said it to Gary. I sent him a message on Twitter, public message and a private message, and I even said it. Gary has to get stop these leeches from latching onto him, because there's a lot of leeches out there that are trying to latch onto him, and that was a perfect example of what happened at that convention. Was a perfect example of the leeches. So he has to be careful who he has around him. He's got a good group around him, which he does, but you get people like that trying to take advantage of something that him, his wife, and others set up. Absolutely disgusting. So I just want to say happy birthday. You still have, as I said, you'll always have our support, and I am always grateful for all the support that you've given this channel. And when I first got monetized, what did he do? He came in and he gave me a $20, I think it was, or a $50 super chat. It was very, very nice, man. He didn't even have to do that, but he did. And look at all the stuff that he's done for comic book stores out there. For a while, he was doing a monthly thing where he was given, I think it was $1,000 or something, to comic book shops that were hitting hard times. He's done a lot for this, for fandom in particular, but especially his fandom. So, for these people to come and attack him the way they did, vile, disgusting, and to play the victim and cry, you're coming across as an SJW, a Karen. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, there's just no need for it, is there? No need for it.
Yeah, but all those ladies in the Fandom Menace that have turned against certain members of the Fandom Menace, they were the ones I called frauds. I was telling Lee and others in the chat, I knew they were frauds. You could smell fraud off them, right? Lee went and asked one of them to do a particular TV show, right? And she's supposed to be a pop culture channel. Yeah, right. Blake 7 it was. Thank you. And what did she? I'm not watching that L crap. But you're a pop culture. You're supposed. That's your job, right?
Yeah, right. That was the moment. That was my moment to go. Okay, I'm out.
All they're interested in, right, is creating drama, right? Either going on Twitter or doing videos where they make themselves out to be the victim and turn people against people for no other reason but clicks and money, because that's all.
Be quick, Noel said. Be quick.
Go ahead.
And I just wanted to add as well some sad news this week as well. The passing of Sean Locke, the comedian. Very sad, very sudden. He was ill.
Man.
Yeah, I didn't even know he was. Yeah, I had no idea he was suffering, man. It was really, really tragic.
And he'd only released some new clips or something from, I believe it's his last performance.
Yeah.
And he was really on top form as well. Really good, really funny. very sad. I was very upset by that. 'Cause
Yeah, I
I
have to
Yeah,
say,
it's-
I love
he's
8 out of
genuinely
10
a funny
Cats
guy.
Do- I love 8 out of 10 Cats Do Countdown because he was one of the
Yeah.
captains.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
He's the
He's a
best.
brilliant comedian. I was bleeding shocked when I seen his name trending. I said, "What
I was
the
like,
hell is
what?
going on here?"
Yeah, I saw
That's
like some sort of tribute thing, and I thought, oh, it's got to be some sort of joke. He's
Yeah.
he's released that DVD or something, and I just couldn't believe it. I was like,
Yeah.
oh no!
Out of nowhere as
So
well.
lots of love and support to his.
That's it, man.
loved
Sad
ones.
times. But Lee, I will ask you about
Oh, yeah.
the stuff that the Doctor Who stuff.
Yes.
Just before we head
Oh,
off.
just before that, rest in peace, Sonny Chiba as well. Died yesterday, or today.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah. Kill Bill.
Oh, for God's
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Died of the coup, sadly.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus. That's even worse, man. I hate that
I know.
nowadays, man. Jesus.
Was it his 80s though? So he didn't make 80. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it's
still,
good
to
run,
go like that. No, I
Yeah.
don't like people dying of this thing.
No.
Fuck
Shouldn't have
no,
happened.
right? That you like if you drop dead of a heart attack or something like that, or you have other stuff wrong with you, that you kind of accept that because that But this thing, no.
Yeah, this shouldn't have
No.
happened.
No, it's ridiculous. But look, I don't want to bring the string
Yeah,
down.
let's not go into it, but
all
yeah,
of
it shouldn't
these
have happened.
death announcements. But yeah, rest in peace. All thoughts and prayers to all their families, and it's difficult time for everybody. But
Yeah.
Lee, we'll finish it up with your. We got about 9 minutes now, so if you want to just give your opinions on what we were talking about. So, do you think BBC?
Well, as I said at the start, it's it's possible, but the will has to be there, and without the kind of crazy political current day cult-like mentality which is pervasive, and I really do think that the culture within the BBC needs to change. And they talk about diversity, they really need to have diversity of views and opinions, because it's just become such an echo chamber, and they don't really listen to anybody apart from a few people on Twitter. And if they're going to keep listening to these people on Twitter, they're going to fail hard. And that's my worry, that it's become so endemic in the BBC, this culture.
I agree with you, but you're not, because I know you're the most skeptic one here, so I want to prod you for a little second here. But you not think, with all the stuff that we're hearing and the things that we've seen so far, especially with Chibnall talking about,
well, it's a very simple
a
case.
little bit of optimism.
It's a very simple case of, do the BBC want to be here in 5 years?
I think that's it, yeah.
It really just boils down to that. Ultimately, this is a flagship show, and it's flagging. It needs pep. It needs an injection of sense and proper management. And you're not going to get that from hiring people based on immutable characteristics. Okay,
I agree.
You get that by hiring
on talent.
a mixed bag of talent from people who are good at what they do. Doesn't matter what their immutable characteristics are. I want the best people for the job, and that should be what everyone wants. Enough of this equity nonsense. Okay, equality is what we should be looking forward to.
Yeah.
And that comes naturally. It shouldn't be a conscious effort. I think the more conscious bias you put towards it, you're actually thinking in terms of race, you're thinking in terms of gender, and you're putting that bubble else. And that, to me, smacks of an inversion of the very thing that they claim to hate. And it's simply the same side, a different side of the same coin. When all you can think about is someone's race and gender, if that's consciously on your mind 24/7, then there's probably something wrong with you.
Yeah.
I would say look, I've said this before on many streams, if you want to hire based on blind talent, you remove anything from their You get someone in admin to remove people's names, gender, anything that hallmarks their race or sexuality, whatever. You just remove all that detail, and so you just got what they're good at, their qualifications, their experience, whatnot, likes and dislikes, all that kind of stuff, and then you only go by that. So then you're picking from a blind pool, right? You just, you'll get your diversity without being conscious of it, because you'll be just picking people on their talent, and you pull them in for an interview, and only then do you get to see who they are. And that would work. I don't see why that wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would simply say, until then, until the BBC can restructure itself, kick out that insidious cancer within the organization that is common purpose and pride. They got this
ignore
pride thing in
them,
there.
because if the commercial arm's taken over or becomes a co-production, they won't have any say. That's
well,
the thing.
and rightly so. They've lost any respectability from the great British public.
Yeah.
Period. They've scorched the earth with that, and frankly, the more out the hands of the main BBC it is, and into the hands of the commercial branch, the better, I'd say. Yeah. And I said when Davey came in, I saw him as a potential hatchet man, and it's been pretty lackluster so far. So I'm hoping. Wait! I'm making my. You've spoken. I haven't. Charlotte mentioned earlier that she thinks this is perhaps his time to prove his value, and if he doesn't do it with this, then obviously it's for nothing. But I think it hinges on him showing some leadership at this point, and really fixing the massive gaping hole here, and that is a complete structural problem. And I think he needs to pull out that hatchet now, and he needs to start
as I was trying to say, maybe he's done that behind the scenes.
Well, maybe so, but we haven't seen. Hey, Clobby's in the chat. Hello, Clobby.
Hey, Clobby.
Hey, Clobby. How you doing, buddy?
That's what I'm saying. He's probably been doing it behind the scenes, Lee. Been doing it quietly.
Well, I said that, when he took the job, that's what I was hoping for. But I think if he's doing it behind the scenes, it's not good enough. It needs to be that the public perceive it, that they see it happening. If they're not seeing it, this isn't going to go away. It needs to be a public effort to show that there is a commitment to change. If you don't show that, people are not going to see it, and therefore not going to perceive it as changing or any will or showing any will to change. And that abysmal thing that we had at the Comic-Con thing showed us that they're not willing to be transparent with us. They're not willing to show us that they're wanting to change. It's only when we got the announcement afterwards that there was any indication that there was any sort of change in the air. But it was that kind of newspeak, that kind of really contrived softball nonsense. And that really grates me. It really irritates me. And I think a lot of people feel the same way. It shows a very false, shallow, one-sided, plasticky, surface level nonsense. And it's all fluff and no substance. And that trailer was bland, boring, and the promotional shots. It's like, why bother? Why even have bothered to have made this next series at all, when you should have really just thought, right, out now, we need to fix this. I don't know what the contracts were with Chibnall, but they must be bloody watertight. That's all I can say. But now's your chance.
Alex Kurtzman,
but you have to show us. You can't be cloak and dagger. You've got to show us up front. And I think he might be afraid to do that because he hasn't got a handle on the culture of the BBC, and that people within the BBC will, signal to their Twitter fanatics that, all hell's going to break loose, and, you must defend this ideology now, and, pitchforks at dawn. And we have to be worried concerned about that, and if we're worried and concerned about that, then probably Davey is as well. But I think he needs to show some mettle, some backbone, get a team around him to do his bidding and to fix this, put people in the top above the people that have been put in place by common purpose, get them overseen, kicked out, whatever it takes, and put your own men in or your own women in, and really, you need that structural thing in place. You really do to have any chance of success. In the meantime, as I said earlier, I would advise get a co-production going with competent contractors in who know what they're doing, and get the right team in, the right producer, the right editor, the right everything, and whatever it takes, how much ever you have to pay them, because I think if you put the investment in the right places, not just making it look all shiny, but in the right places. I would sacrifice some of the amazing special effects and whatnot in order to get great stories and great actors in. That's more important. Focus on that, get that done, get them in, and then if you put that money in the right place and boost that money in a sizable amount, you'll get that back, because you'll win back the people that you've chased away effectively. So that's pretty much where I'm at.
Right. Well, thank you for that. If you'd like to do your channel shout out now, that'd be fantastic. We'll go around the whole panel. So we'll start with you first, Lee.
Yep. You can find me at Aldred Audio Visual. The Michael Sheen titles that I did have now reached just shy of 4 views, shy of 1,600 views. So it's doing really well. So please keep visiting it. Comment if you haven't already. Like it if you haven't already. Share it. Most importantly, far and wide as much as possible with the hashtag Michael Sheen. Hashtag Sheen14. Get it going. Get it going. Get it out there. Keep spreading it around. Get new people to see it. Have you seen this? Just try and keep the buzz going and try and get more people to use the hashtag.
Fantastically. Thank you for that. PD.
Okay, you can probably find me in the chat on Rabbi from Another Planet's channel. Tomorrow we have, with all the hoo-ha that Az brought up the other day, we might actually have Pete Gilmore on doing Comicsgate Consequences. So he'll go into all this hoo-ha going on with who are they called? Not Indiegogo, the other one, Kickstarter. You might go into all this. If you're lucky, he'll go into all this hoo-ha with Kickstarter.
Oh, the gatekeeping going on.
Yeah, and the gatekeeping and his side of the story. So join us there.
Fantastic. Enigmatic Joker.
Yes. First of all, I would like to say a big thank you to Noel for allowing me to be here for the first time as a guest at the Tardis Zone.
No problem. More than welcome.
I started live streaming 2 weeks ago on my channel, Dutch Doctor Who channel. And my inspiration to start this are you, Noel, and Daniel. Thank you for that.
Great.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
So,
I would also especially like to thank Charlotte and Disaster Area for their support. And of course, I want to thank our community for their support. I do the live streams in English, and I discuss Doctor Who, spin-offs, and other related matters with musical flavor and humor.
Brilliant.
Fantastic. And all the links will be put in the chat. I think the moderators are doing that now as we speak. So thank you, guys. Sean.
Hello. So you can find us at Nerdaholics, where we talk about Doctor Who, obviously, and react to terrible movies in various states of inebriation. And you can also find us on Twitter at Nerdaholics1. And hashtag Sheen for 14.
Boom.
Fantastic. And I am back tomorrow for Power of the Daleks. That's what we're doing for our classic watch along. And then on Sunday, we have a Good Man Goes to War, which will cause a bit of controversy with people. But, that's what we like. That's what we like. Not everybody likes everything that we watch. But there you go.
Just one more thing. I'll be on the legend that is Daniel's channel next Friday for a talk about wrestling, as I said before, but I just wanted to get that back out there again because Daniel is the man, and I'm honoured to be a part of that stream next week, as I am this stream today and last weekend. Whenever you have me on, Noel, it's a pleasure.
No problem. And Daniel's channel, I know was putting the link, and I'll be putting the link again. Right, but we're gonna wrap it up there. We've over the 3 hour mark. As far as I know, Friday Night Tights has kicked off. So if some of you are fans of that, it's already started over there. But we will talk to you tomorrow. So I'm gonna leave you with the trailers, and we will see you very, very soon. Have a good night. Enjoy your weekend, and yeah, as I said, we'll see you over the weekend. It'll be very good. So come and join us. So panel, say good night.
Good night, everybody. Cheers.
Night, panel.
Take care.
All right, here we go. See you later. Bye-bye, folks.
Bye-bye.
All right.